Conspiracies, government cover-ups, Earth mysteries, monster cryptids.
Hospital reporters, pride and dignity. Stop the New World Order. Welcome to HPANWO TV. Welcome to this, the 113th reply to comments video. This is the video in which I reply to your comments, which is why it has that title, of course. The reason I make these videos is because I don't have time to reply to you all by text, but I do feel obliged to make replies to your comments, and some of your comments are very thought out. Some of them are very long and detailed. Some of you take a lot of time to write these comments, and some of you ask me direct questions or make direct comments or make direct criticisms that I need to address. And so I feel obliged to reply. Now, some of you might think, well, I don't have time to listen to this. I don't have time. Because I don't have time to write replies to your texts comments, but you might think you don't have time to reply to read my reply to comments videos, unless you're Red Snapper, of course, and you've got all the time in the world. But if you're not Red Snapper, then you may think, well, this video is 9 hours long. I'm not watching a 9-hour video just to get a reply to one comment. Well, you don't have to, for two reasons. Firstly, I'll put a timestamp underneath the comment I'm replying to you, telling you to within the nearest hour when I'll be replying to the comment I'm replying to. And secondly, my reply to comments videos are not 9 hours long anymore. They're much shorter usually because I do them more often. Another reason for doing these videos is I enjoy doing them. And many of you, the viewers, enjoy watching them. Some of you watch them all the way through. They also preserve a precious philosophical dialogue, which will still be there if, for example, my YouTube channel gets deleted. Stephen Molyneux made this point. There's also, I should point out, there is actually a show transcript option in most of the uploads. You just click Control F, and then you can use a keyword to locate whatever username or question you're interested in, and skip direct. You can select your username, skip directly to your answer. So, with that being said, we'll start. But first of all, do bear in mind, this is only the first part of this reply to comments video. There was an alt tech annex, which will not be uploaded to YouTube. You're only going to find it on BitChute, Odyssey, Rumble, on my channels there. It's basically too dodgy for YouTube. So we'll begin where we left off. So we'll go straight to the last comment that was left after the last cycle of reply to comments video, and it's on the Awake and Aware Conference 2025. And Red Snapper says, another conference, you're really hitting them hard. Is your Awake and Aware your guilty pleasure? I wouldn't say guilty, but it's certainly a pleasure. It's you left a timestamp here. We'll just go for it here, Red Snapper. See what it says. If the page will open, should do in a moment.
A beautiful sunny day here in Oxford. I'm actually off on another adventure. I'm going to another conference. Yes, it's the third one in just over a month. Can you believe that? Yeah, I can believe that, Ben. Yeah, I'm going to Kerry Cassidy's Awake and Aware at the UFO Academy. It's one I've been to many times before, and I'm really glad to be going back there again, especially not least because I missed the last one. As you'll remember, if you're...
Okay. Now, Red Snapper says here on the same video, so David Griffin did turn up a bit again. Did turn up, Ben. Apology needed. Yes, and I did send one to him. And he says, okay, apology accepted on David's behalf. Thank you. Yeah, luckily he is kind of like, he's quite understanding about this. It seems like I've already got comments. Oh, have I already done that one? I don't know. Anyway, right, here we have the London Anti-Geoengineering Rally, and he says a Monk Jack. Nice, says Red Snapper. I won't click the timestamp if you don't mind, because my thing's running a bit slow today. But it's muntjac. It's a species of deer, a very small deer, which is quite common. The same video. You ordered food for delivery. I think I'm going to have to click the timestamp here. Scientific kind of thought experiment, and now they're going to put that. Now suddenly out of the blue they say, well, we're going to try it out, see how it goes. You ordered food for delivery. I don't know why. Maybe you got the timestamp slightly wrong there. I don't know what context you're talking about, Red. I do sometimes have takeaways, not very often. And this is another timestamp here on the same video. I had no idea bees sleep. These aircraft. These are all right. Red, I think you got both the wrong timestamp and the wrong video. You may be referring to the incident in Awake and Aware where I saw some bees on the flowers that appeared to be asleep. I think you may have made a mistake there. Reply to comments 13. I may go for the tripod. Okay, you definitely got your videos and your timestamps mixed up here. Red, I may go for the tripod. Well, I don't know how much longer they'll keep it there before they give it to a charity shop, but it's at Bristol Temple Meads Lost Property Office. You want to get it, just tell them I sent you. Awaken and Aware, that's a reply to comments 13 anyway. It's an old one. That's 100 reply to comments videos ago. Awaken and Aware Conference 2025. Tessa 1111, lovely video. Jane seems wondrous. I've been interacting with past singer and his life has intrigued me spiritually. All right. That wasn't Paul McCartney, was it? But thanks, Tessa. Thank you very much. Awaken and Aware Conference 2025. All right. How would a pillbox protect it from being bombed? Right. Red is referring to the scene in the garden where I was looking for this World War II pillbox. How would it protect it from being bombed? They would have within it an anti-aircraft artillery, which would shoot at any bomber that was approaching. That was the purpose of the pillboxes. Reply to comments 112. First, says Red Snapper. Well done, Red. You get your tinfoil hat is on its way. And we have a big thread here. And that's actually prompting me to show more replies. Oh, blimey. Reply to comments 112. Second, me first. 33 seconds, me first, which is nice. Oh, Hugo, you didn't quite make it. You get a silver. And Red said, I was first. Hugo says, perhaps. I saw no comments when I made my comment. So I assumed, perhaps wrongly, you first then. Red, I saw no comments either. Perhaps Ben can offer a tiebreaker. I don't know how to do that. Where's your first comment, says Hugo. There, can't you see it, says Red. Fair play, good point. I'm happy to concede you were first, Red. Hugo also says, yes, I see it. Both of us at the same time. No worries, Red. I can accept a draw. Maybe Ben can reveal the winner. He could tell it from his notifications. Oh, yeah, according to my notifications, Red was first. But if you two want to toss a coin, let me know. Hugo, I'm sure he will when he reads these comments. Edit in his next reply to comments video. Lol. Red Snapper, lol. Red Snapper says, keep trying to respond to these, but YouTube always delete comments. Yeah, Red, they've been doing that as well. They did that to one of mine on someone else's channel, literally just last week. Keep trying to, yeah, and Hugo says, hi, Red, see my above reply. I posted about the BBC. Before I was able to post it, I got a warning from YouTube about my language. They want to keep YouTube inoffensive, and my language may offend people. There was a tab saying posted anyway, which I did. And Red laughs. Yeah, oh, YouTube they're getting bloody worse, aren't they? John Fused says a third. Well done, John. Bronze, tinfoil hat coming your way. 112 Hugo. Right, wow, 3.5 hours. I'm game, nothing better to do. Was only watching old Deal or No Deal videos on YouTube. This is more interesting. Thanks, Ben. You're welcome, Hugo. Spliffs in the tin. Reply to comments 112. All right, this is, I know what this is about. Timestamp. Of me and Steve, which of us is the hippo and which of us is the bird? All right, this is to do with the hippo. This is the symbiosis. You are the hippo, says Red Snapper, because Steve is much mentally weaker. He has a bird brain. Oh. Also, if I choose to quit the old, another reason, if I choose to quit the old symbiosis, I can always just go like that on him, can't I? The Cyrid, the Cyril D says on Helen Duncan, the most dangerous psychic in the world. Brilliant work, Ben. Totally engaging story and research. Thanks, Cyril. That's probably I think that's my most popular video, actually. Reply to comments 112 YouTube. Hugo says, I'm with you, Ben. I will always try local food. 21 countries. Yum, yum. Steve Mumbling, says on 112. I met Paget, the con man Fisher, when I stayed at his UFO bed and breakfast property, Star House in Warminster. This was in the 70s. I was old enough to drive there, and I didn't see anything unusual on Cradle Hill. They were just a bunch of nutters. Oh, really, Steve? Well, I'm actually going to Warminster in a couple of weeks because, you probably realise it's the 60th anniversary of the start of the thing. And you know, I went to the 50th. There's a video of me there. And so I wonder if Star House is still there. If so, I might book a room. DJ says, more fibre in your diet. This is in reply to Steve. More fibre in your diet leads to less steaming piles. Nice one, DJ. Nice one. Oh, for some reason that has appeared twice. I don't know why that is. Red Snapper says on 112. Oh, I'll put it on twice just in case. But yeah, thanks guys. Much appreciated. That's great fun. That is. And all right. Red Snapper says on 112. Timestamp here. Good. 33. Oh, we go. Yeah, it's 33 degrees. 33.7176 north. There we go. So it's 33. It's on the 33rd parallel. Right. Wow, says Red Snapper on 112. I have just noted that green star in your room. Some might say you're part of the club. Green star. All right. Is this some? Oh, it's a crops. That. Yeah. That there. It's a crop circle. It's a crop circle diagram. It's a sticker. I got it from Glastonbury. Yeah. So I'm a Green Star. Am I part of the Green Star Club? What does that involve? Reply to comments 112. Gary Robinson. Ben, mate, if Alison Dunlop wants to impose demographic control over conferences, then she should go ahead and set up her own with the focus on doing just that. Without a doubt, it will fall on its rear end. How does the saying go? I think it starts with the word woke and ends with the word broke. Absolutely, Gary. Yes. Unfortunately, she seems to have total control now over the SPR. This is an organisation that it wasn't set up by her. It was set up by Malcolm Robinson over 50 years ago. And unfortunately, she seems to be. I don't know exactly what the situation is. I found out, I don't want to say actually because it's kind of private, but I found out that she does have an awful lot of power over the Facebook group, over the entire the organization. And yeah, she can certainly dictate who comes and goes from the group and treat it as if it's her own personal page, which is highly unprofessional of her. And I think very contemptuous to other members, but that's what she does. I know that she does that because of my own departure from that group. So that's but obviously, yes. I mean, I'm not. How many white men seriously are going to go to an event where they say, "Oh, you can come in, but we hate you, and we want to restrict your numbers as much as possible." Certainly, 49% maximum. That's all we can tolerate of your disgusting presence. How many people are really going to want to go to that? I certainly wouldn't. 112. Gary Robinson says here in reply to David Smith. David Smith. Yes. Regarding our recent conversations about the troubles across the Atlantic, most of what he said about undocumented folks is not being a drain on the system and their efforts having a positive effect on the country is indeed true. His response, however, is very much word for word reiteration of the script that pro-immigration people run with based on their emotional response to a situation and in lieu of real-world experience. His reply also suggests that he blatantly ignores the obvious in that my comment was clearly focused entirely on people who are part of the vast and multifaceted infrastructures of the cartels from Central and South America. Over the years, I've met some really good people in California and Texas whose status was in question. And I appreciate they fall into a potentially grey area when it comes to balancing immigration law with morality. When it comes to people involved in organized crime, no matter how far down they are in the ranks, that's another issue entirely. Yeah, I mean, obviously the American situation is one that you're more familiar with than myself. But yeah, I mean, what David, I know I can speak from the British point of view that what David Smith is completely false, definitely. I know that, in fact, this is actually a very malevolent eventuality that the government is imposing on us, and I think it's deliberate. And Michel says in reply to Gary, if it's all emotional, it should be easy for you to refute. Instead, you've moved the goalpost to cartels. It's funny because your comments are mostly typical right-wing, emotional, misinformed garbage. Okay, Michel, 2 + 2 = 4. That is misinformed, typical right-wing, emotional garbage, all right? So therefore, I've just proved to you that 2 + 2 = 5, haven't I, in true Orwellian fashion. And David comes back. Michelle, of course it's emotional for them. See all the anti-woke comments about film and TV shows. They're getting upset because a movie franchise starts concentrating on women or trans characters, as if it's bringing the whole world crashing down. And the whole go woke, go for broke has been thoroughly debunked. That the people that rally against these equality of rights simply don't realise that they've had so much privilege that things become more, even feels like oppression to them, and that is a useful feeling for certain politicians and monetary interests to manipulate to the hilt. Oh, David, I wish you'd say something original. Honestly, the fact of the matter is that we get, if they're going to exclude white men because we're white men from movies, yes, that is concerning. I mean, history teaches us that when that attitude sets in, it generally doesn't go very well. It generally goes to a very dark place indeed, and that society ends up in a very, very, very dangerous situation. And yes, that is upsetting. It is upsetting for us, and we have no sympathy because of this myth of white male privilege. And you come on to that in the second part. You say if equality feels like oppression. Well, firstly, that's woman and black-splaining. All right. What everyone needs to do, I think, is to listen. We're always told this, aren't we? Listen to the lived experiences of people. All right, well, listen to the lived experiences of white men. No, we don't listen to them. We will tell you what your experiences are, and we will tell you, what your feelings are. This is how they go. So it's we don't have privilege. This is just revenge fantasy, isn't it? This is revenge fantasy because we didn't overthrow capitalism after the 1917 Bolshevik Revolution. That's what this is all about. This is just the white male working class betrayed us, because after the Bolshevik Revolution, of course, the worldwide socialism did not occur. In fact, so we carried on fighting the Great War. By the end of it in 1918, 20 million people would be dead. This following decade, many of us reverted to fascism as well, in Germany and Italy. And the left have never forgiven us for that. And what's the worst thing a left-wing person can do? What's the most spiteful punishment a left-wing person can give somebody? Well, in the left-wing world, the ultimate evil and disgustingness is being an oppressor and being privileged, and the ultimate angelic divinity is to be oppressed. So therefore, I don't think they made a decision. I think it was subconscious. They just said, well, let's just pretend in our heart of hearts that the white male working class are the oppressor, that they are the ruling class, they are the privileged class. Let's just pretend that. And so they did that as part of a revenge fantasy. But then it grew legs, and it just became like, it goes into Gramsci and the Frankfurt School. It became a myth that kind of was accepted to the point where it took on a pseudo-reality. So you're not saying anything original here. I hear this falsehood from people all the time, that white male privilege is a real thing, and that the white male and the working class are the most privileged people of all, and other such nonsense. It would be insulting if it wasn't so cliche. And how is it useful for certain politicians and monetary interests? How does it benefit them? I don't understand. They are currently, the political classes of this earth are completely going along with the left. And when they're joining in with this, we hate white men thing. White men are the problem people. We need, they're paying for these think tanks and these left-wing political parties. They're playing the police. The police are literally bussing these people into protests in this country, in my country right now. So how is this benefit? How does it benefit the interests of certain politicians and monetary interests to manipulate to the hilt? How does it benefit them? I mean, I personally, unlike the distant right, I personally don't believe that they just hate white people because blah, 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 blah. I mean, I believe they regard all people, black, white, Jewish, Chinese, all of us, they regard essentially as just one more species of farm animal. But it is strategically important for them what they're doing right now. And you can no longer maintain this this delusion, firstly, that white male privilege is a real thing, and the second delusion that somehow the left wing is somehow anti-establishment. It's not. All right, where are we? Reply to comments 112. Cole Costello says poppycock, and then a laughter emoji. So he's taken this 3.5-hour video and he's just replied with one word. Which 2 words actually, which is bad grammar or bad spelling. Poppycock and laughter. Right, you're making no sense there. Right, gin skin pivot. He gets straight into it. Here we go. 12 minutes, 1 second. Now, this is a quote from me. NASA did discover intelligently designed structures on Mars. Unquote. DiPietro, Molinar, and Brandenburg wrote about unusual observations and mysterious formations. You have zero evidence NASA discovered intelligently designed structures and made a decision to suppress it. A mission outline for one location is not cover-up evidence concerning another. That's amateur CT reasoning at its absolute lowest. We have good close-ups of Cydonia and nothing looks designed or built. David Percy, you mean the owner of the Owlis Online sewage plant? Rib tickler, get a grip, Ben. 30 minutes, 6 seconds. Greenbank Observatory, Oumuamua detected a signal. Nope. Breakthrough Listen project detected no evidence of artificial signals from Oumuamua. Right. Right, DiPietro, Molinar, the DiPietro, Molinar, Brandenburg, all this came out before Mars Global Express, or sorry, Mars Observer. Okay, it came out before then. This was like in the early 90s that this happened. It was in 1993 that the original, I can't remember the original probe, that failed. I know David Percy did a video about it. Now, you say a mission outline for one location is not a cover-up of evidence concerning another, and it's amateur conspiracy theorist reasoning. Wrong. If some very, very interesting piece of possible evidence is discovered in a particular location, and then NASA say we're not interested in looking at it, that is essentially a cover-up by looking the other way. I can't think of a good way to put it. A cover-up by ignoring. What's a good word? A cover up by, I can't think of, you know what I mean. It's looking the other way. A cover up. I'm not suppressing it, but I'm looking the other way so I don't see it. And when I have the ability to go and get good images of it, and they had nothing to lose simply by confirming or denying what the original Viking data presented. Okay, and you say we have good close-ups of Cydonia, and nothing looks designed or built. Yes, we have good close-ups of Cydonia now. But though the first ones were taken, well, the first ones that were taken was I think it was from the Mars Global Observer, right? The Mars Global Observer took some photographs that were deliberately distorted. They were described as catlets of pictures, and then they had to be decoded to be looked at properly. Why is NASA publishing distorted images? And you say that's not a cover-up. You say there's no evidence of a cover-up. There was a guy called Brian. What's his name? Brian somebody. He was actually a NASA astronaut. He was involved in this, in the campaign to get these things decoded. And nothing looks designed or built. Well, you see, it does. You see, the latest, all the actual. Eventually, when we did get good pictures from the Mars from NASA, we did indeed find structures that look like they're designed or built. I mean, I know that's arguable, but unless you get down there on the ground, it's impossible to confirm completely. And we're looking obviously at things that are very old. In fact, they're so old. They're older than anything on Earth because they were probably created before life even evolved on Earth. But you see regular on the DNM period. There's like a regular side. There's other structures in that area that look like they have a regular shape. This needs to be confirmed or denied. If I had my way, I'd say to NASA, send a rover down there, send a lander. You say Owlis Online sewage plant, rig particular, get a grip, Ben. Right, interesting. How do I possibly dispute such a carefully crafted logical treatise as that? You mean the owner? Someone says 2 + 2 = 4. Yes, you mean the owner of the 2 + 2 = 4 online sewage plant, rib tickler, get a grip, Gin Skin Pivot. By saying that, I've just proved that 2 + 2 = 5. You see. Logic, isn't it? Empirical reason a wonderful thing? I'm being as sarcastic as David Smith now, aren't I? All right, in 30 minutes 6 seconds, Greenbank Observatory, Oumuamua detected a signal. What did I say that? Oh, I'm going to look this up because that's a contradiction to what I myself have said before. Okay. Let's have a look. So let me just get that timestamp again. It's 30 minutes 6 seconds. Right. Let's have a look. Pareidolia based on sun angles and photo orientation is a special object. Energy specifically, okay, here we go. Specifically monitoring or verifying the evidence gathered at Cydonia. So they were not going to go and examine this and see if it was true or false. It would be a very simple experiment to do. It has been done in other cases. For example, the Green Bank Observatory did actually do a quick experiment with the Oumuamua when it came past. They monitored it to see if it was generating a signal. Yes, because they took seriously the possibility it might be an artificial object. Right, Jin. All NASA had to do was get a few good snaps of Cydonia. Then, Jin, that's not what. Jin, you were misrepresenting me. You say here, Green Bank Observatory, ellipsis, ellipsis detected a signal, and you say nope. Breakthrough Listen project detected no evidence of artificial signals from Oumuamua. Why do you say this? Why do you firstly misquote me and then just say, no, they didn't find any evidence of artificial signals from Oumuamua? I know that. I know that. In fact, I've said, if not in this video, in others, in fact, in my more recent videos to do with the interstellar object, I actually did explain how they took seriously the possibility that there was maybe a signal coming from Oumuamua, and they tried and looked at it, and they didn't find one. Yet you are now claiming, or you're trying to portray falsely, the message that I actually claimed that Green Bank Observatory detected a signal from Oumuamua. And you say, no, Ben, that didn't happen. But why are you doing this? You know how easily I can see. You even put a timestamp here. You know how easily I can check this up. And I can check that. And you know this cannot be a mistake on your part. So you've even quoted me, Jin. Please do not misrepresent me. Okay, so we move on now to Jin Pivot again, who says here on 112. There was no replies. There was no replies to the last one. No, so we have here Jin, who says here 1 hour 51 minutes. Okay. Quote, what I believe is happening is that some of these agents are being mixed with fuel. They've been mixed, this is to do with chemtrails. They've been mixed with covertly before the fuel is actually delivered to the airport and therefore to the aircraft. That seems it's there, and so no extra pieces of engineering have to be fitted to the plane. If you did that, then of course people would know, unquote. To paraphrase you, that's rhetoric, a convenient get-out-of-jail response that also isn't evidence of chemtrails. No, it's not. That's not rhetoric, Jin. That's not rhetoric. Okay. And I'll just finish reading this whole thing. Secondly, this implicates more people with a very high risk assumption that nobody's going to rat on their masters. Third, it presupposes a compound which not only survives high altitude temperature extremes, but also survives burning and not affecting engine performance. Again, referring me to other conspiracy theorists and their opinions isn't evidence of wholesale criminality. Chemtrail theory is total BS. Okay. Right. Now, firstly, what you said at the beginning where you quoted me, it's not rhetoric. Rhetoric would be this. Quote, people who believe that nothing is happening with these agents being mixed with fuel are simpletons, mentally ill, stupid, or committing fraud. They are evil, degenerate, nutcases and nutjobs, and they should be locked up, unquote. That's rhetoric. What I did was not rhetoric. This is me just explaining what happened. Yes, there's an element of speculation there, but you say it implicates many, many people. It wouldn't have to implicate that many people. In fact, I describe it in my book, Roswell Rising, a Novel of Disclosure, available at all good bookshops now, priced £10. Well, I think actually it's in the third one, so you have to get all three. So that's my grift month over with. Yeah, so it is possible you'd only need a few people at the fuel refinery or in the storage area to add the agent. And now you say presupposes a compound which not only survives high altitude temperature, but also survives not burning as well. So extreme low temperature and extreme high temperature and burning, not affecting engine performance. Well, that's the nanotechnology can do that. And you say here, referring to other CTs and their opinions isn't evidence of wholesale criminality. Chemtrail theory is total BS. So that, see, then you're now framing this argument, so you're shutting off any rebuttal concerning the work of, for example, Cliff Carnicum or Sophia Smallstorm. Simply saying, well, there are other CTs, other conspiracy theorists, so their opinions aren't valid, means that even if their opinion contains a logical treatise, you won't listen to it. And then you assert that chemtrail theory is total BS. Well, you can't assert that if you're not going to allow any rebuttal, if you're going to frame the whole issue. I mean, this happened when I was being sacked from the hospital portering. Every time I tried to defend myself, they just said, well, that's not relevant. That's not a relevant point. And I just thought, well, what's the point? What's the use of me being here then? So I disagree with you there, Jin. Steve says underneath, it never occurs to these conspiracy types that the perpetrators of this spraying are breathing the same air as everyone else. They're experiencing the same weather as everyone else, and they're experiencing the same level of sunlight as everyone else. Why would they be spraying themselves? Well, Steve, they may not be biologically the same as us. They may have a different... Firstly, they have places they can go to where they can breathe a different kind of air, bunkers and things like that. And secondly, biologically, they may be very different from us. I know a lot of people, even within the conspiracy sphere, people dispute this, but I mean, there's distinct reasons to think they are not human as we would describe human. David Smith says underneath, or the consistency of which contrails form. They could falsify their theory by monitoring all the planes refueling with the same mix, and then watch in amazement as some have contrails at certain altitudes and temperatures while others don't. But of course, that's too much like hard work. Well, David, honestly, if someone wanted to, if an aircraft company or a fuel company that refines aviation fuel wanted to be involved in such an experiment, I'd be happy to go along with it as long as it was transparent, and I'd admit I was wrong if it's not true. Paul K. Lasman says here, it's pointless trying to say anything that's common sense to the average conspiracy theorist. They don't care about facts. They'd rather believe in utter BS because it's more interesting in everyday life. Yeah, Paul, that's right. It's pointless trying to explain to people that 2 + 2 = 4. You know, these 2 + 2 = 4 people don't care about facts. They'd rather believe in BS because it's more interesting. They won't accept the truth that 2 + 2 = 5. There you are, Paul. I've just proved it, haven't I? That's rhetoric. And David says to Paul, that's true. They'd probably just chalk it up to there being a secret chemtrail switch on a plane or something. It'll be the same as all the rest when something lacks credible evidence. They just invent another conspiracy to explain the lack of evidence to support it. It's funny because people like Ben laugh at the flat earthers, but what he does is exactly the same. They go to conferences, quote unquote, too, and enjoy meeting people who share the same delusions, then lament going back to the sheep world. Every time Ben mentions things like that, he proves the idea that a lot of these beliefs are held. A lot of these beliefs are held because it gives the believer some sort of know something you don't power trip over others in their head. All right, this is funny, Stick. That's the point made by Michael Barkan in his book Cultural Conspiracy. He believes that we do this because it makes us feel superior. Well, I don't know about that. I think if there are people like that, I mean, the backslappers certainly are like that. And the backslappers, it's not just the skeptics and the normies, the skeptics and normies that they lord it over. The backslappers lord it over fellow conspiracy theorists. See, so there is an element of that. It's true among the backslappers, but I don't feel that way. I mean, you see, skeptics often have the same attitude, and they do. And I've identified it. They would say, you could say everything you say here about we woo woos, you could say about the skeptics. As for the rest of it, I mean, you're speculating over what I would think. I don't believe there's a secret chemtrail switch on a plane. If that was the case, you would literally have to brief in every single pilot, all 4,200 pilots who fly for British Airways, for example, not to mention the hundreds of thousands of others who fly for other airlines, etc., which would not work. As for flat earthers, I laugh. I just think flat earthers are wrong, and I explain why. It's not a tribal thing with the flat earthers. It's just I don't think it's true. And I go to conferences and enjoy meeting with people who share the same opinions as myself, and lament going back to the normal world where I can't talk about these things. Yes, I do. I described that in great detail in my Ben in the Desert too. So yeah. Okay, and we now are on. Donna Wellham says on New Interstellar Object live stream. Hi Ben. Hi Donna. How are you? Ben, where did you get that T-shirt from? Oh, right. Which one? I can't remember which one I was wearing. Let's have a look. Maybe I can find out. Where was it? I will find out for you, my dear. Going back. Here we go. I'll just because there was I was wearing a different T-shirt in the thumbnail. Let's have a look. The more planets you acquire. Oh, right. It's the chemtrails. The further you. Oh, actually, I was given it by a guy who was actually throwing out a lot of his woo-woo T-shirts. He had about 4 or 5 of them, and he gave them to me. He was just having a clear out in his house. Jinsky and Pivot says on 112, Paul McCartney dead and replaced. There's your qualification. Some women talking about comparing photos and the Dickinson claim of paternity aren't evidence of a man's death, cover-up and replacement, Ben. As I said, you need evidence of identity theft, multiple examples of contract fraud, family not going along with it, and a coroner somewhere willing to stay silent and fraudulent about a death certificate. You have opinions but no evidence. Yet again, you refer me to somewhere else, and somewhere else is just more nut jobs making claims. You should also be noticed that Colostrum is a published and oft-quoted you-know-what denier. Okay. No, Paul McCartney was dead and replaced. You quote, there's your qualification. Well, I'm making an assertion. And I was on the fence a long time with this. And some women comparing photos in the Dickinson claim. Well, Dickinson, I haven't heard from him for a while, actually, Steve Dickinson, but he claims to have done a DNA test and things like that. So potentially there is possible proof there. And the 2 ladies talking about the photos, that is evidence too, because I mean these are documented photographs taken, and they've got dates on them. One was taken at the Melody Makers Awards of 1966, which is at the GPO Tower, and there's a photograph of Dusty Springfield and Tom Jones with Paul. That's an actual photo that was taken. You can compare that to the one that was taken 2 months later of him, when they were first bringing out the I forgot the name of the album now. Of the single where they first appear in the coloured Cavalry Twirls. I can't remember what the name of the single was. And you can clearly see the man is at least 8 inches taller, and his facial figures are different. He's grown a moustache to try and cover it up. But yeah, now that is evidence. All right. This is evidence of a man's death, cover-up and replacement. It needs explaining. If these 2 documents, if these 2 photographs can be positively identified for what they are, and they've been in the historical public domain for several decades now, you have to explain that anomaly. And as for the rest of the evidence, identity theft, family not going along with it, fraud, coroner, yeah, that would help, but the absence of those things is not evidence of absence. The absence of those things does not mean we therefore reject the other anomalies. And also, supposing those things, do you promise me, or I'll do a deal with you, Jen? If those things come along, identity theft, multiple examples of contract fraud, family not going along with it, a coroner willing to stay silent, fraudulent about a death certificate, if those things happen, what are you going to do? Most skeptics would simply raise the bar. They would simply raise the bar again. And then you finish off with the same thing. Referring me to someone else and more nut jobs, it won't do. Okay, well, again, you're then channeling this entire argument into a single alleyway that you have total control over. That's not honest debating. And then you mention Nick Colostrum, and you say something personally about, you make a personal comment about him, which is not relevant to the subject matter, in an attempt to essentially smear his character. And Nick Colostrum, whatever he might have said and done, it doesn't break any laws. You might find some of his opinions repugnant. I understand that if you do, but he's not breaking any laws. He hasn't done any harm. He's not been arrested. He's not committing any crime in this country. He would in some other countries, but not in this one. And so when you bring this up, I can only assume this is some kind of ad hominem attack against Nick. Is that right? Is that your intention? Because if it's not, you need to explain why that's not an ad hominem attack. That's not a poisoning the well fallacy. David Smith says in reply, but the evidence is that there is a cover-up of the evidence. Duh. Well, David, if I stole your TV out of your house, right, that would be evidence that I'd committed a crime. If I came back with a cloth and a can of Mr. Sheen and I started wiping down every surface that I touched, to remove my fingerprints, would or would that not be evidence of a cover-up of the evidence? And if so, would that be less or more incriminating in your view? Why won't my reply appear? Something weird's going on. Was it? Oh, that's 3 of them now. Or it's never mind. Okay, so thanks for those comments. I don't agree with you, but those are interesting comments. Thank you very much. 112, and we have Red Snapper. Here we go. I'm just checking. Have I got all the things on here? Yeah, I have. Okay. All right. This is about Trump. So I don't need to click the timestamp. Proud of you, Ben. Admitting you are wrong about Trump. Will you make the same mistake with the next maverick that comes along? However, all right. Maybe not. I mean, you see here, you can clearly see that I still have the MAGA hat there, and I still have the Make Britain Great Again T-shirt with Boris Johnson on it. And you may wonder, well, why do I keep those things? Why do I keep them? Why don't I get rid of them? The reason I keep them is because I don't want people claiming that I'm like trying to bury my past. I won't be deleting any of the posts I made about those subjects where I speak approvingly about those 2 men. And I see those 2 things as kind of a memorial to 2016, which I don't want to forget. I want us to remember there was a time when we almost did get a complete breakdown of the New World Order. In fact, for 6 months, the Illuminati literally lost control. And those 2 items, that T-shirt and that hat, are a memorial of that. So I'm going to keep those in my studio area, even though I am off the Trump train now, just like I'm off the Boris train. Red Snapper says on 112, can you give us an example of dedicated chemtrail fleets? I wonder what the pilot pay is. Right, the answer to that is it's been discovered where certain aircraft, military aircraft, do not appear on flight radar. They've been detected, though. People have seen them in telescopes and binoculars, and they appear to be issuing chemtrails. What the pilot pay is, I don't know. You'd have to be involved, I suppose. Right, there's a timestamp on this, which I'm going to click on 112. Here we go, 153.59. This is Red Snapper again. Claims as grandiose conspiracy theories. But why? And a psychiatric, the 2014 bomb hoax trial. Oh, it's to do with Shrimpton, yeah. Did you know Michael Shrimpton is signed to the VSOR? What's VSOR? I didn't know that. I don't know what VSOR is. Let's have a look. Right, VSOR. VSOR, Cockspur Rum, the Whiskey Exchange, Hanson's VSOR Limited Edition Red Sour Ale. Beer Merchants, VSOR, a very special old red, is a one-off bottling, a blend of old Lamisk and red fruits. All right, it looks like some kind of spirit liqueur. Okay. I didn't know that Michael Shrimpton had anything to do with that. I didn't think he was a heavy drinker. He just certainly doesn't knock back a lot when he was at the conference, wasn't he? Yeah, definitely. But anyway, I didn't know that about Michael Shrimpton. No, not that it matters. Not that it matters. Red Snapper, this is a timestamp on 112. Is John Lynch an aspiring actor and novelist for you? Okay. Excellent. And he's actually been in a couple of really good things. All right, yeah. I thought he's a pretty good actor. Well, he's been in a couple. He's given good performances in 2 of my favorite productions. That is Chimera and Sliding Doors. He played major roles in both those. That film and that TV series, and he was very good. I didn't know he was a novelist. I've never read any of his books. But he's this chap. He's I think he's pretty good. I haven't seen him for a while. Yeah. Right, Awaken Aware Conference 2025. Billy Big Boars says, "Come on, Ben. Parks is full of mince." Is he? I didn't notice. Red Snapper says, "Sorry." Well, I mean, I don't necessarily believe what he says. I mean, I listen to what he has to say. I don't necessarily believe it. I know he has many very harsh critics. But yeah, I don't know exactly. I don't know exactly. I don't necessarily believe what he says. I know he has like his Connecting Consciousness group. I'm not a member of that. but I know a lot of people think very highly of him. I feel quite neutral towards him, to be honest. I'm certainly not going to believe what he says. At the same time, I'm not going to believe what his detractors say without like some proper due process. So it goes both ways, I think. 112, and we have a timestamp from Red Snapper. Would I support a woke reboot? Is the Pope Jewish? Yes, exactly. How many of the popes have been? Right, well, all 112 of them. Oh, no, there's been more than that, but there's been 112 since the prophecy of St. Malachi. Yeah, so his prophecy was wrong. But how many of them have been Jewish? Well, technically, St. Peter was Jewish. Technically, Jesus was Jewish. But yeah, no, it's but yeah, I don't know. I mean, the thing about like the history of Christianity is interesting, and its connection to Judaism. Yeah, it's really interesting. There's a lot's been written about that. Lots of alternative ideas about that, about the Messiah and things like that. The Moshiach. But a lot of Jews actually believe the Moshiach's about to come, and they believe that the October the 7th massacre was kind of like, for them, it was something revelatory. It was something that it was an act of the apocalypse. And when something that terrible happens, it's hard not to believe there's more significance to it even than it is on face value. And it was a terrible enough thing on face value, but for lots of, like, especially in the Orthodox faith, they actually, like the Chabad Lubavitch Center in New York, they literally believe that the Messiah is coming. Yeah, I did an article about that a while ago. Red Snapper says on 112, for a while I was in admin in the geoengineering. I've got that on the brain. The engineering department of Port and Down, Johnson's Controls. Then a year or two later, I did a day in the kitchens washing up. Well, that was a bit of a come down, wasn't it? Really? Wow. I know what this is. I wish I had. Red Snapper says, I've worked at Port and Down, Ben. Have you? Right, yeah, I see. Well, I don't know how much you can say, Red Snapper. I don't know how much you're allowed to talk about from what you found out. I mean, you may not even be allowed to say what sort of food they eat. I bet you've signed loads of security contracts. Now, I won't order you to break them. I won't tell you to break them or anything. I'm just curious, you know. All right, here we go. When did Edwardian lady die? How well did you know her? What age was she? Right, she died a couple of weeks ago. I knew her online. I spoke to her online quite a bit, and she seemed a really, really, really nice person. What age was she? I don't know, 60-ish. I don't know. Too young, definitely too young. Yeah, and she seemed like she was one of these people who, she made comments, and she never made any kind of like nasty comments or anything like that. Oh, my browser's hourglassing again. I don't know if that is significant. She never sort of made any nasty comments. She was always polite, or she was like focused on really nice things and really beautiful things, you know, nature, traditional spirituality, things like that. It's a shame that these people always seem to leave us so early, and the scumbags linger around for ages, like Henry Kissinger and Robert Mugabe and David Rockefeller. I mean, how old were they when they popped off? Why can't they die young instead? All right. Red Snapper says 112. Was she really the wife of Eugene Terre Blanche? No. Oh, we're talking. That was this South African lady who run this B&B in Lytham St Anne's, and we called her Mrs. Terre Blanche because she was horrible. She was really mean. She was called like a female Basil Fawlty, and we couldn't stand her. Yet, the organisers insisted on using that, probably because it was cheap. They insisted on using that as the Speaker's Hotel for several years. But no, she wasn't really the wife of Eugene Terre Blanche. Me and another delegate gave her that nickname. 112. That was a marathon. Thanks, says Red Snapper. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it, Red. It's longer than most, yeah. And this one, I don't know how long this one's going to be, but I'm nearly an hour through, and I think this one's going to be a long one as well. Primarily because of all the comments I'm getting, which is really good. It's good we get more and more comments. Here we go. Right. Red Snapper says, High Elms is better than Garston. Garston is ghastly. You mean the name? Yeah. I prefer the name High Elms Manor. It used to be called Garston Manor. In fact, most of its history was known as Garston Manor. But yeah, definitely. And now Red Snapper has on Awaken Aware. That was in Awaken Aware 2025. This one's the same video. We've got a timestamp here. Where is it?
Things online as well. I'm also the custodian of Master Energy Colour
Well, that's
Healing.
Jane. Yeah, that's Jane Miller. Wow, Jane Lee Miller, Master Energy of Color Healing. Will you try it? I'm not sure. Sounds interesting. Same video. Okay, got a timestamp here. 1 hour 15. Come on.
Watching him. Of course, it's simply holes. It's just simply a panel with some holes. And
all right, yeah, this is looks a bit like Tool 10,000 Days. Google Images search that album cover. All right, that's the panel outside David's house. I just thought I'd mention it because it looks like a pair of eyes watching, like Tool 10,000 Days. Google image search that album cover. All right, then. All right, and here we go. Are we still on the VSOR? Okay. Tool 10,000 Days. Here we go. Oh, it does, doesn't it? Yes. Oh, that is an image by Alex Gray. Yes, but it does look like those eyes. Alex Gray is the famous spiritual artist. Yeah, I see what you mean. It does a bit. That's well spotted, Red. Very well spotted. Right. Awaken Aware again. Timestamp. Are you a Disaronno fan? What's this?
it says that here's this image here of the two women with their Dolce Vitas.
Oh, here we are. Oh, I see. Right. Oh, yeah. This was the outside the station. I thought I would mention this. Yeah.
Cocktail thing, and then look, what's in the sky? Sylphs in chemtrails.
Well, Disaronno is. Yeah.
You see these pillars?
Where is it?
This causes a
Disaronno.
liqueur.
Disaronno. Am I a fan of that? I never tried it. I generally don't like these things. They're a bit sweet for my taste. I'm not a fan of those sorts of things. I mean, I thought Courvoisier is not bad because it's a very mild liqueur. And yeah, Irish coffee is not bad. And the Irish creams, but generally no. I prefer like neat spirits. Right, 126.27. Wow, I've never heard of destructive orbs.
Image of a head appeared on his laptop, on the monitor of his laptop. Also, an orb appeared in his lounge and destroyed his television. He had a near-death experience. He was actually offered the...
Yeah, well, it depends. I mean, smashing up someone's TV could be said to be constructive, couldn't it? It's rather like if you've got a leaking drain into your lounge, someone comes along and fixes it. Do you know what I mean? Red Snapper says on Awaken Aware, incredible for the speaker to claim that Marshall Vian Summers is the only contactee. That does sound pretty unlikely, yeah. And I mean, I'm sure Lorraine will disagree with me. I mean, whenever I see Lorraine, she always points out every mistake I make. You know, when I talk about her movements, and I just say, look, my report is based on notes that I take while people are speaking. That's the best I can do, I think. But yeah, I'm happy to be corrected. But no, I believe there are good aliens, and I believe they have more than one contactee. Paul Wills says here on Reply to Comments 112. I know Paul Wills. Yeah, Paul, are you going to Warminster 60? I think you said you were going to go. So thanks for this comment reply, Ben. Even although long, they are fun and always enjoyable. Your passion to the subject that we are all into always shines through when answering the comments. Cheers, mate. You're welcome, Paul. I hope to see you soon. Awaken Aware Conference 2025. Great video, says Red Snapper. Thanks very much. Thanks, Red Snapper. Same video, and we have here timestamp. This is not the same video. This is confronting Droik. Wow, so many Droiks. Yeah. yeah, this is, for those of you who've seen this video, this is where I literally, this is one of my most famous videos.
Drakes and Droiks there? Droik the
Yeah,
Master.
this is basically where, this is all their usernames that they go through here. Yeah. I've had 1,500 views, it's saying. Well, I probably had more than that. That's what YouTube was giving me. I probably had more than 5,000 views on that. Droik the Merciless, Droik yet again, yeah. And so many Droiks. This is awful slander. What's that?
Had been found to be useless parents. Jones was told he was unfit to look after himself.
Yep, that's right. That's what they do. That's what they do. They smear me. Yeah, that's true, mate. That's true. And like I said, if they think that of me, why don't they come and say it to my face? Why don't they come and why in that video you can see quite clearly, spoiler alert, they don't show up. They're too scared to come look at me in the eye and say the shit to me they've been saying. They've been pouring abuse at me online for years and years and years. I give them the opportunity to meet up so they can say it to my face, and they shrink like quivering violets. Gutless little turds, a lot of them. Paul Will says, yeah. Yes, Ben, I've seen your video of you visiting Rudloe Manor. Ben, the person that you did this video with, is she the same person that you did the Devon Skywatch with? And why did you go to Devon instead of just going to Knapp Hill? Right. No, the person who went to Rudloe Manor with me, there's two of them. There's Mark and Liz Froud, known as the Crafty Nihilist. The person I went to Devon with is called Sherry, known as Diana Windsor. She didn't want to go public in those days. So they're two different persons. Why not just go to, why did I go to Devon instead of just going to Knapp Hill? Well, I like to go to both. I mean, both are very, very interesting. And I'd like to go back to I've been to Knapp Hill. I'd like to go back there. But I'm very glad I went to Devon with this lady, and we had a really, really good time. Saw a lot of very interesting things. Paul also says on reply to comments 112, the new Doctor Who. Oh, God, yes, definitely Miles Johnson. What's it with the black goo? Oh, yeah. Yeah. The best Doctor Who we never had, eh? I love that picture when I went to Usk Lighthouse, him coming out of the TARDIS toilet. That was really cool. Awake and Aware. Contact Times. Hello, Contact Times. Not heard from you for a while. How are you? How am I doing for time? I think I'm nearly at the end of an hour. Yeah, a few more minutes. Contact Times says here, can I get a right to reply to the issue of being reclusive at all? Yeah, of course. Are you? Oh, you're not David, are you? I'm sorry, I said that about you, if that's you. On a scale of that fuckwits that can occasionally make up the UK alt community, I think I've done fairly well keeping sane. Being accused of that is actually totally understandable behaviour in my view. But WTF do I know? Oh, yeah, of course you have a right to reply. And yeah, of course, that's a good answer, David, a good answer. It was nice to see you that day. It was really nice to see you. Right, reply to comment 17, and we got Red Snapper. And it's Steve mumbling here. Goodness, have I known Steve that long? I have, haven't I? Oh, blimey. This is 2018. Steve mumbling says on the tour video, now that's what I call a tinfoil hat. Are they available from HPANWO merchandising? Well, I'm afraid not, Steve. It's actually not my design. It's designed by Sophie the Porter's Poet and Chris, her partner. And it's just a one-off, I'm afraid. So they're not. I don't think they're planning any commercial line. And Steve071 says, I think Ben's hiding the rest of his cake under it. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's, yeah, good old Steve. You can't bleat him, can you? How am I doing for time? Let's have a look. Right, reply to comment 17. Is that picture on Confronting Droid you show? What's that? Book size. Have you ever considered doing a bend-over style videos? Could be a winner. Oh, my God. Oh, well, he's basically saying, should I be a porn? Right, that picture on Confronting Droid you show could have been a part of that. Oh, really? Dear me, I don't think so. I don't think so. But anyway, Red, it's, you know, if it makes me a few quid, maybe. I don't know. But there's some things I won't do for love nor money. Red Snapper says, would you travel to the bug planet Klendathu? Oh, right, that's from Starship Troopers. Probably not, because I don't know. It'd be like being amongst the trolls, wouldn't it? All right, guys, I think that is the end of an hour. So I'll come back in an hour. We'll start hour number 2. Okay, welcome back to hour number 2. God, this is going to be long. I mean, we're only like about less than a quarter of the way through. I might not even be able to do it all today. Right, reply to comment 17. Red Snapper, good reply to comments. Thanks, Red. Glad you enjoyed that one. PewTube down. Oh, this is an old one. Oh, PewTube. Remember PewTube?
Concerning news, and that is that PewTube is down.
Yeah. I don't get that. BitChute did not fold. No. Actually, PewTube actually appeared before BitChute, I think. Yeah, so, I mean, it didn't last long. It was a very short-lived alt-tech video site, which I did use a lot. And Red Snapper says, I don't remember PewTube. This is on the same video. Was that a sad day for you? Not really, not terribly. I mean, I wasn't that close to PewTube. I mean, I used it, uploaded a few times, but the one that really upset me was VidMe. When VidMe went down, I was very depressed and I made a video about it too, which you could probably find. You may even have commented on it. Losing VidMe was hard because, again, this was a BitChute had just started then, and it was very unreliable. When BitChute began, it was like a blockchain thing. It was always a peer-to-peer system, and it was very, very unreliable. You'd have to. It's one of these videos you press play, and it takes like half an hour for the video to start. That kind of thing. In its early days, it had terrible teething trouble. But VidMe was working very well. But VidMe folded. It was very sad after like about 3 months or 4 months, quite soon. And I'd made friends on there. There was another channel I was following, and I got to know very well. Luckily, it was someone who also had a YouTube channel, but they don't upload anymore. And YouTube, and this was a long time ago. But Red Snapper says there's another timestamp here.
Even come to a point where we might have to use the darknet.
Yeah, and he says, sorry, Ben, but they control the dark web also. Oh, not all of it, they don't. You see, you can't completely control the internet. That's the good news. You can never completely ban things from the internet. You can make it harder to use, harder to find. You've got to jump through more hoops. But at the end of the day, you can't. You'd have to uninvent the computer and like any form of interfacing between them. You'd have to destroy every computer in the world except one, and then destroy all the interface methods. So if someone builds another one, they can't communicate. Right, PewTube down. Lol. The Team Droid trolls were like an invasive species. They even got in early to BitChute. Oh yeah, they're everywhere, Red Snapper. They're every bloody where. Oh, they just infest everything. And I know they're still watching me. They're listening to my words right now. They sometimes even post comments. Oh, there's a timestamp here on the same video. Here. What's this?
So, well, if PewTube doesn't come back, rest in peace, PewTube. But,
yeah, it didn't, unfortunately, and also VidMe didn't either. There was always a promise that it would come back, just like there's a promise that OnStella will come back. They haven't, which is sad. But they've been. There's other things. Since then we've had Odyssey, Rumble, we've had Brighteon, etc. Reply to comments 18. Big cats are real beyond any doubt. Is a timestamp.
Oh my. Well, there are big cats in the country.
Yeah, they are. They're beyond. Red Snapper says big cats are real beyond any reasonable doubt in Britain. Too many eyewitnesses, even smartphone footage. Yeah, people still deny it. Shows the power and nature of propaganda. Yeah, I mean, if a video appeared of a UFO landing on the proverbial White House lawn, and there was TV cameras everywhere that captured it, some skeptics would still claim it was a hoax. They'd say it was a bouncy castle or something. Yeah, they would. Reply to comments 18. What's happened now? Oh, bloody hell. Oh, I've got to go back now. I've got to scroll down again. So sorry about this, guys. I just accidentally did something. You just right click when you should left click, and suddenly you just reset the entire damn. You just end up resetting the entire community comments page. It's really annoying. So I've got to go back, start again, go back around to where I was before, back down here, which is, where's that? If I can find where I was. Goodness, I don't know how to get through all these. Yeah, I might have to take a couple of days to do these. Wow. There's so many. All right. Yeah, big cats did not just escape from zoos. Many owners just released them after the Dangerous Wild Animals Act of 1976. They didn't want to euthanize them. Richard Freeman's talked about this. Yeah, they literally were putting people in a position where you have to fork up a huge amount of money, or we have to kill your pet, your beloved pet. And they said, nah, go out into the wild and make. I do that. I think just put them in the wild and hope the best. They hope for the best. You know, that's what I would do. Oh, that's awful. That, yeah. Right, Red Snapper says here is a timestamp here on this. Reply to comments 18. As you see on their uniform, on their belt, they have the Freemasonic symbol on there. Yes, that was in the hospital where the royal family are always at. He said, my 95-year-old grandfather is a Mason. Nothing to be worried about, right? Honestly, Red Snapper, there was a porter at my hospital who was a Freemason. I mean, there's nothing wrong with being a Freemason. I'm not that much of an obsessive conspiracy theorist. But the fact that these nurses there's this connection institutionally to this London hospital does keep me worried. Reply to comments 18. Do you keep in touch with Alan? All right, is that Alan Tate? Let's have a look. Is Alan Tate? I'm guessing you're talking about Alan Tate. Now some hospitals are Freemasons. I mean, I had a guy I served with. Oh no, Alan. Yes, that's the man I was just talking about. I haven't. Right. Yes, he's literally the man I was just talking about. And no, I haven't seen him actually since I left. I don't know where he is. I don't know if he's still alive. I mean, he was pretty old. He was quite an old guy back then. So I don't know. What a name, says Red Snapper. What's this? To bed spoke to me. This is from John Loves Vaping Good E-Liquid. What a name. Yeah, it's quite a name, isn't it? Red Snapper says, do you think Will Carling had sex with Diana? Could he be Prince Harry's father? No, I think it was James Hewitt, who was Diana's riding instructor. Make of that what you will. I mean, because if you look at pictures of Hewitt when he was younger, he looks, I think he's died now, Hewitt, but he looked just like Harry, really. Just like Harry. And we have a time. This is leading to forced disclosure from the deep state about our planetary defences and perhaps a disclosure of intelligent life out there. Right, yes, lol. No, this guy will have no chance. Oh, no, this is lol, very true. Yeah, that's right. It's on reply to comments 18. I think so. I mean, I've just been watching this video by Jason Somoza. This one here is the iceberg of disclosure. Do watch it, actually. I was watching this before I started this video. He has this iceberg from the very lowest to the very highest. Why is this UFO disclosure happening now? Do check that out. I met Jason, actually. He was at when he appears in my video at the Rendlesham Forest tour. Right. This is timestamp on 18. This guy will have no chance if he follows your stuff at Oxford. Who's that? Who's this then, I wonder? Bennis, someone called Bennis, says on the Space Force live stream. Hello, Ben, mate. I've been following you for a while now. I love your stuff. Oh, thanks. Thanks, Bennis. I'm a sixth former doing physics and maybe getting into Oxford. Oh, well, good. Right, so this guy will have no chance if he follows your stuff at Oxford. Well, if he's stupid enough to give his real name, and he didn't, I mean, I'm guessing that Bennis is not his real name. So he'll probably be all right, but he needs to keep a bit quiet about if he did get in next. This is reply to comments 18. I imagine he's here, so I hope he can meet up with me. Right, reply to comments 18. Oh, this has come up recently, actually. Yeah. Passing by, or what if it's just on its way somewhere else? I mean, this actually happened in Arthur C. Clarke's Rendezvous with Rama. If you ever read that book, sorry for the spoiler, but it turns out the thing was just passing by. Yeah. All right. If will you watch Denis Villeneuve's Rendezvous with Rama? He's set to direct. Yes, I will. This is the first ever film adaptation, which surprises me, actually. And when you consider there's been lots of other Arthur C. Clarke stories have been filmed, most famously 2001: A Space Odyssey, Stanley Kubrick. So yeah, I will watch it. Yeah. Okay, we now have reply to comment 112. Hugo Rune, right? Told him to fuck off. Well, with the series, I was supposed to be on the series. Not all right. Yeah. BBC, you told the BBC to fuck off. Good man. I'm waiting for a visit from the BBC for non-payment of licence. Not had one for decades. They're now investigating me. I cut my coaxes long ago. I cannot receive... Oh, coaxes. I cut my coaxes. That's the aerial lead, yeah. I cannot receive broadcast BBC. Never use BBC iPlayer. I'm waiting with delight to see the BBC investigators for myself, so I can show them the evidence and tell them to fuck off to their face. Bring it on, BBC. Good luck with that, Hugo. I'll tell you what, though. Unfortunately, technically, it's still illegal, even if you specifically avoid all BBC products. You still got to pay the license. Well, I say you've still got to. I mean, it's becoming unenforceable with the number of defaulters has grown so long that there's no way you'll ever end up in court within your lifetime. I mean, probably within mine either. I think there's a 140-year backlog or something, because there's like 4 million people on the list now. You know, we don't have enough courts in the land to deal with all that. It's really hilarious. But anyway, it's in a way I just hope they would turn off, just so I can like tell them what I think of them. It'd be enormously cathartic, and therapeutic, just to have a right go in their faces. It really, really would be. All right, reply to comments 18. We have Red Snapper. Lol, this reply to Steve mumbling. What did I say to the mumbler here? Let's have a look.
Budzio says he won't be able to do remote viewing if chemtrails are blocking the signal. That's why government spray the skies to prevent people with such gifts from exercising them. And you need a special healing crystal. Okay. Right, now, Budzio, that's actually a good point.
All right. I didn't say that, Steve mumbling, did I? All right. Right, Hugo Rune. All right, this is reply to 18. Right to comments 18. Hugo Rune, it seems he left you a long time ago. He's still a fan. Was Hugo Rune in this back 6 years ago, was he?
I know the meaning of the word. Bye, Ben. I will be watching. I do find you entertaining, especially your IQ reducer. But I'll not be bothering you again. Oh, what's about it?
Oh, right. Oh, no, Hugo. Oh, Hugo, I think he finished the tin and he was like in a strange mood. He gets like that sometimes. He'll tell you himself. He'll admit it. Reply to comments 18. Paul McCartney's clearly dead. Do you think he could have been replaced by a clone? Not a clone, no, but a lookalike. A guy called William Shepherd is the man we currently call Paul McCartney, who is a different man, not related in any way. He was actually a complete stranger. He never knew Paul, but he was recruited to the program to replace Paul. Yeah. Reply to comments 18. Do you believe super soldiers exist, Ben? Yes, I do. However, the number of people who claim to be super soldiers and come up with all kinds of cock and bull stories about why they think they're super soldiers, or why they want other people to think they're super soldiers, is rather insipid, and most people who claim to be are not. Right, Hugo Rune says on reply to comments 112, a most interesting reply to video. Finally got to finish it. I love the Jim Morrison bits at the end. I repeat, an excellent reply to video. Thanks very much, Hugo. Much appreciated. Oh, reply to comments 112. Booth illicit? Booth illicit? I can't believe it's you. How? Ben, when are we going for a pint? P.S. Still a communist. Hey, Booth, I haven't heard from you for years, man. Oh, well, you got my email address. You can get in touch. I'm happy to meet up with you and have a talk to you. But, you know, I thought you'd just gone. I mean, you haven't commented for ages, for probably about 3 or 4 years. But anyway, welcome back, Booth Illicit. Welcome back. I'm sure we can have a good discussion. Of course, we won't agree on most things, but you know, it'll still be good to chew the fat with you and have a couple of sink a few pints. So yeah, get in touch, mate. Get in touch. Yeah. That's the reason. The only reason we haven't met up is because you sort of disappeared from my channel. I wondered where you were. Right, we got a new video now. Ben Emlyn-Jones live at the Swindon Rabbit Hole. First, said Red Snap. That's a good name, is it? Swindon Rabbit Hole. That's a good name for the group. As I made a joke about Terry Joyce. This is their rabbit hole. Pigtown, something. That's what it's called. Yes. That's why I called. Yes, that's why I called my video when I went to Swindon to check out the graffiti. I called it Town of the Pigs, because that's what Swindon literally means. It's construction swine town. It's that's what it literally means. It's an old name. It's an old English name. David says Bartertown. 2 men enter, 1 man leaves. Right, I think that's some sort of joke, and I don't get it. Sorry, David. You have to explain these things to me. Same video, Hugo Rune. Silver to me. Hello, Red Snapper. Yeah, you've got to get up early to beat the red, Hugo. Very early indeed. I'm glad you agreed I was first, says Red Snapper. You've got me laughing. Thank you very much. You got me laughing too, guys. Right, Rick Horden. Your Obama disclosure video is an all-time classic. Oh, my goodness me. Is it still there? Is it still there? Oh, no, this one. Oh, I see. Right. I thought you meant the band one. Yeah. I've actually included that. It hasn't been spotted yet. But the my other Obama disclosure video, the one where I actually dress up as this Mr. Presidency, I actually inserted that into, I think it's my Assange disclosure, the video where it's the UFO disclosure video where Julian Assange is in the is the thumbnail. I think it's in there somewhere. Right, UFO disclosure 2015. Is it really possible? That's the one, Rick. Yes, Rick Horden said is the one. Sorry, did I say that Rick Horden was the one who commented before? 3434. What's this then?
This is President Obama announcing to the world that UFOs are real on live television. Hope you enjoy it. See you at the other end.
Oh no, here it is. Oh good. All right. I can't show you this, guys. I can't actually play this. I'll show it very briefly to you. All right. I'll show it to you very briefly. There you go. There's a little still of it. And it's on this video here. UFO disclosure 2015. Is it really possible? It got banned. The funny thing is, I mean, it's obviously it's very politically incorrect in many ways. And oh yeah, Rick Horden gives me a thumbs up and a two glasses. David Smith says lol, and yeah, and Rick Horden says yeah, that was banned. The original video, which I told you I inserted it into another video, and obviously it was that one. I thought it was the Julian Assange one, but it was that one. I thought it was quite unwitty, actually, but you know, the blackface makeup thing is very, very controversial. I didn't mean any offense by it. For me, it was just a joke. But obviously, as time, I made that a long time ago, and of course, time went on, and times changed, and the things became people became less tolerant, and as a result, I think it was just someone at the YouTube office spotted and just thought, "Yeet it," you know. I didn't get I just got a warning saying they told me it had been deleted because of deceptive practices of false advertising. And I thought that was just the excuse. Right then, right, we have Red Snapper on the Swindon rabbit hole. 938. Is that a pro-Ukraine thing? What's this?
It's a bit hot and sweaty.
Yes. Yeah, look. Yeah. Oh, you're right. Look behind you. I didn't notice that. Yeah, look. There it is. Yes, it looks like a pro-Ukraine. You're right, it is. Not that I'm pro-Putin, says Red Snapper. Oh, right. No, look, that's what, I mean, I'm not a, well, that's what, I think Vladimir Putin is one of the few statesmen I still respect in the world, though. I don't want to sort of like say, yeah, I'm pro-Putin, team Putin, or anything like that, because you know what he'll do? I've got an awful feeling there's something about the political world that just seems to, like, change people. You know, change good guys into bad guys. And I've got a feeling from the moment I start saying that Putin's our man, he's the anti-New World Order guy. Well, I said that about Trump. I said that about Boris Johnson. Look what happened. Look what happened to them. So yeah, I'm not going to put my faith in any politician anymore. I mean, that's twice bitten, twice shy. I think twice bitten, 3 times shy. Swindon rabbit hole again. Hugo, nice one, Ben, on Nick Pope. Very interesting. I'm really enjoying this. Oh, good, Hugo. I'm glad you enjoy it. And then he says, "Wow, Grenada. Yes, who'd have thought it? Grenada, a little island like that is a place to go to. Wow, squared with Grenada. The stamps. Yeah, there are some real cool stamps. And it says, wow, cubed. What's this? It says this is Hugo Rune on Swindon Rabbit Hole.
Again, it's on the UN. I got this from the UN website. So this was known as the Gary Initiative.
And what do you mean by cubed? I'm not sure. And Hugo says here on the same video, 2759, Sir Eric Gary, SP, must research. Oh, he's yeah, very, very interesting. Very, like I say, one of these most real charismatic mavericks that the Caribbean often throws up. It has a habit. It's a region that tends to create great nonconformists, and he was one of them. And then he says, Maurice Bishop. This is really interesting. Thanks, Hugo. I'm glad you find it interesting. Yes, Maurice Bishop was his rival who took power in a coup d'etat. Hugo says on Swindon Rabbit Hole, forgive me for this, but I know that when Ben reads these comments in a later reply to the comments video, he'll comment on my spliffs. So to circumvent that, Ben, I have 30 spliffs in my tin and one in the ashtray. I'm very happy. Good. You knew I'd guess that anyway, yeah. Hugo Roon says on Swindon Rabbit Hole, free energy, incredible. Keep it coming, Ben. Oil companies, my past working with Shell, Nigeria, and Conoco, Angola, they all needed telecoms edit and Shell candles ruffle. Nice one, Ben. Yeah, there's always a future for Shell candles, isn't there, Hugo? Hugo says on Swindon Rabbit Hole, we are all mammals, just a small part of the animal kingdom. How did it go? Animal, minimal, vegetable. Oh, edit, oh dear, I said kingdom. Not happy saying that. Really? Oh, well, kingdom is just it's a biological term. It doesn't necessarily mean kings. It's a biological term for there's domains and there's kingdoms, isn't there? So the domains are bacteria, archaea, and eukaryotes. And eukaryotes are split into animals, plants, fungi. It's just a biological categorization. They call it a kingdom. The animals and plants and fungi are all they're three kingdoms. Swindon Rabbit Hole. The Earth versus Flying Saucers, 1956. Thanks for the memory, Ben. Found it. We'll watch soon. Edit. I was born in 1957. All right, the year after. You'd have been a bit too young to enjoy that movie then, Hugo. But yeah, it's on YouTube, I think. It's very good. It's actually quite cool. It's a lot better than some of the modern alien movies. I'm telling you, certainly it's better than Independence Day. Swindon Rabbit Hole. War of the Worlds. I found that too. We'll watch. Thank you, Ben. You're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah, it's really there's different versions of War of the Worlds. I think there's like 3 or 4 movies. There was one made in the 50s. It's quite good. There was another one by Steven Spielberg, which isn't quite so good. Yeah. Bumbelina says on Swindon Rabbit Hole, absolutely gutted. Just found out in your presentation here that Capel Green film premiere is on. Just went to get tickets. It's sold out. Damn. I'm sorry, Bumbelina. It is actually they sold very quickly, but there will be more screenings of the movie. So like keep checking the website because there's obviously a demand for it. And I think Dion will make sure there's more screenings. Swindon Rabbit Hole, Hugo Roon. Onward, David Icke. What's this? Okay.
Oh, I love David Icke. Oh yeah, he's great.
That's the guy, mate. Someone asked me a question about that. Onward, David Icke. So I'm not the only one who likes him. Oh, thanks, Ben. You're welcome, Hugo. 115 Onward. Incredible, Ben. Your implant. Respect. Oh, right. Yes. It's in my arm. I've done a video covering that. 124.30 Onward. Lol, Ben. It'll be worth a lot of money in a few years. I'm in stitches. I'm glad so, because I've made that joke quite a few times, but it still gets some people laughing. 125.13 Onward. Tracy and Andy helping you with your travel expenses. Wonderful. Makes me happy, please, Ben. I would like to donate to you. I can afford a bit. Your videos are brilliant. I'd love to help. Oh, thanks, Hugo. Well, email. If I'll contact you I really appreciate that. If I contact you by email, I've got like a PayPal thing. It's not that email address. It's a different email address. But well, thank you very much. I really appreciate that, mate. I really do. Thank you. Right, Swindon Rabbit Hole. I look forward to your Alt Tech exclusives videos, Ben. Please post a link. Post a link, please. This has been a fascinating video, Ben. Thank you. I've enjoyed it immensely. My apologies to all the pilgrims here, hoping for hogging the comments, but it's really 20 to 1 in the morning, so I guess they're all asleep. Time for bed. That's all right, Hugo. More the merrier, mate. More the merrier. Thank you very much. And yeah, I'll email you about that. But I really appreciate that. I do. And Swindon Rabbit Hole CCG1404 says, thanks, Ben, for this entire presentation. The inclusion of your journey to and from the event is a unique and entertaining touch. You're a top geezer and a very interesting lecturer, mate. You're welcome, CCG. Thank you. Reply to comments video 18. And he says, wow, Ben, is that an admission that you don't believe? You don't really believe? What's this then? Hey, is it? What's this? What do I say here?
Steve Mumbling says on the Newcastle Off Duty, now I get it. You have to give the impression you believe all this conspiracy twaddle, or you would have no social life. All right, Steve. You know, I'm going to confess something to you, Steve. You're partly right there.
What?
But it's not conspiracy twaddle. It's real. I believe it's real. But truth of the matter, I don't really have a social life.
Yeah. Okay. No, it's not. It's not an admission that I don't really believe. I think I thought I made it clear, Red, in my words. I do believe it's real, but it's partly right in the sense that my social life is now tied up with this subject. And I've actually, since then, this was 6 years ago. I've admitted that again since then. You know, this is one of the reasons I was so sad when I come home from conferences, and I feel I'm in such a bad mood when I come home from conferences. That's why. But no, it's not a confession that I don't believe. Swin the rabbit hole. Melvin Sherman. Hello, Melvin again. I don't know why, but every time I think about CIS, aka Commonwealth of Independent States, is just Soviet Union minus communist. Well, yeah, that was the name given to it at the end of the moment when the Cold War fell, before it was renamed Russian Federation, and those various states became independent. It was called the Commonwealth of Independent States. Yeah, is like Boris Yeltsin is like, hey, other Soviet Union member, you will get your independence and will disillusion Soviet Union. All right, I'm going to try and unpick your terrible grammar, Melvin. It's like Boris Yeltsin saying to the other Soviet Union members, you'll get your independence and we'll dissolve the Soviet Union. Okay. And later Yeltsin is like, but we want contact each other like a family. So I created this thing called CIS, is like Soviet Union minus communist, because that it failed. Pretty much, yes. I mean, indeed, even Putin has claimed, even Putin has actually made similar sentiments. In other words, he wants the nations that surround Russia, that is, the nations that were part of the Russian Empire and indeed the Soviet Union, minus, of course, Alaska and Poland, Finland. These became independent actually in the Soviet era. In fact, it was the Bolsheviks who gave independence to Finland, and eventually, after the Treaty of Brest-Litovsk, gave independence to Poland as well. Alaska, I think, Alaska was sold to the United States in 1856. I think they paid $8 million for it or something. So yeah, that's kind of what it was. I mean, I think both modern Russian leaders do want like a kind of informal federation. Yeah, I don't think they want to return to the old empire, but they want some kind of informal federation. So far, Belarus is playing along. Of course, Ukraine isn't, because, of course, the problem is that then these states will then be infiltrated by NATO intelligence and things like that. We've seen this with Georgia. We've seen it with Ukraine. We've seen it with the Baltic republics. Oh, and he says, everyone except the Baltic joined. The Baltics was like, F no, we don't want to be part of your stupid post-Soviet minus communist bullcrap. And Boris said, was fine, whatever, we got enough members. I don't remember that long ago. That's back in the 90s. But I know, of course, NATO have been very active in those states. I think NATO have taken advantage of this situation to create what you might call client states, nominally independent but affiliated to NATO, right up against Russia's border. This is why Putin invaded Ukraine. It wasn't because he's a bad guy and all he's horrible, nasty old Putin. He basically wants to push back against what he calls a knife held to his throat by NATO. Okay, then now there's Red Snapper and I had a discussion over technical issues, which I won't reply to here, but I did reply by text. Awaken Aware Conference 2025. Paul K. Lasman says, what a bunch of gullible people. Anything but awake and aware. Oh, right. No argument then. Nothing logic there. And yeah. And David Smith says delusional and irrational, more like. Oh, God. So it's delusional, irrational, gullible. Okay. Well, I think it's delusional I think it's gullible, delusional, and irrational to say that 2 + 2 = 4. All right. When I say that sentence, I have literally proved that 2 + 2 = 5, haven't I? Logic, according to your logic, that's what I've done. That is what's wrong with the ad hominem fallacy. That's what's wrong with poisoning the well fallacy. That's what's wrong with rhetoric, which you guys don't seem to understand that. Rabbit hole, Paul Wills. Oh, Ben, it's got to be the Weatherspoons every time. I'm with you, mate. I regard these old pubs. It's an absolute disgrace that these once great old pubs are closing down. Of course, from a conspiratorial perspective, it's, let's be honest, all being done by design. So sad. Stop the New World Order. Absolute. Too right, yes. That's what I like about Weatherspoons, because it's pushing back against that. Like when you read their in-house magazine, it's like reading The Light. It really is. Paul Wills says on Swindon Rabbit Hole, Ben Emlyn. As a teacher at school used to call me that. I've never seen so much sweat coming off you like I've seen in the video. Not even when you were in contact in the desert. I know, God, it was roasting in there, man. I had to keep wiping my face every 5 minutes. Swindon Rabbit Hole. Another great talk from you, Ben. I commend you for doing it on probably the hottest day of the year so far. Well done, mate. Big respect to you. And your talks are getting better, by the way. Thank you very much, Paul. Glad you enjoyed it. I think I'm sort of like learning more and more, you know. Paul Wills says, Ben, what was he knighted for, Sir Eric Gary? I think maybe it's just services to the Commonwealth, because he was the first Prime Minister of a new Commonwealth nation. I'm guessing, yeah. It's funny enough, there was a bit of a diplomatic incident, because you see, when Bishop took over, he never, even though he introduced essentially a Marxist-Leninist Soviet-affiliated regime, he never pulled Grenada out of the British Commonwealth. So the Queen remained the head of state. And then when the Americans were that was interesting, because Queen Elizabeth therefore presided over a communist nation. And then when the Americans invaded, when Cord took over and killed Bishop and the others, the Americans were invading the British Commonwealth, but nothing was said about it. Swindon Rabbit Hole. Stephen Greer, Ben, I can bench press your body weight and some all day long. God, I'm so big. Yeah. Great in tight jeans, showing himself off. Yeah, oh my, he does all the time, doesn't he? I think he doesn't realise how hilarious he is. And Paul says on Swindon, a great talk from you, Ben. One of your best. Big congrats, Ben. You're very welcome, Paul. Thank you very much. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I hope to see you soon. Paul on Swindon, Ben, cattle mutilations, yes, but also human as well. Yeah, I didn't bring that up in this particular talk, but I have in other versions. I have mentioned that. I might even have mentioned, did I not mention it in this one? Because, I mean, I do mention in other versions of the talk, in this talk, that, you know, of all the species that are affected in this way, we humans are not exempt. Paul says, Ben, has Dr. Lear passed? Yes, he has, sadly. He did. He's no longer with us. Paul says, 30 people, a good turnout. Yes, that's on Swindon. Very much so, yeah. Swindon. Dave Langston says here, people have long argued that such secrecy would not happen. Yet we have recently witnessed thousands of migrants being trafficked into Britain under great secrecy by the government. Without getting all political, this was done with great secrecy and with ease at great costs. Never mind disclosure. Notice this was a super injunction, which seemed to be an open secret controlled by the threat of imprisonment. So what other super injunctions are we currently unaware of? Good point. Good point, David. When these scandals break out, like the Afghan thing, which there's 180,000, I think, my Afghan citizens were moved into Britain, huge numbers, and they brought their families with them, so that's even more. Unusually, they weren't all fighting age men. Not a word was said, even though not for 5 years or 6 years. This happened in 2020. Not for 6 whole damn years was a word said. And they kept that secret. Lots of people knew, and it just makes you wonder, if they can keep a secret like that, what else? What else? The Crafty Nihilist. Hi, Crafty, how you doing? Love the Swindon music. Yeah, that's I used that talk for I used that track for the Town of the Pigs too. I just thought it somehow fits in with the. It fits in somehow, I think, with the subject matter. How am I doing for time? 34 minutes in. Saved to Saved 7 says on Interstellar Object Livestream, new one. I just woke up 20 minutes too late to catch this. Anywho, we'll have my morning cup. Enjoy. Nothing like British banter, way ahead of the curve. To inspire one. Oh, thank you, Saved to Saved. I hope you enjoy it. Yes, I like people say anywho. A lot of people say anywho now instead of anyhow. It seems to be catching on. And Gary Robinson says, sorry I missed this. We'll rewatch. No worries, mate. I always leave recordings of live streams up. Rick Horden says on Interstellar Object Update live stream, crawling occupants, yes, of interplanetary craft. Awakening Air Conference. Who is that person walking behind the tree, says David Splendid Isolation. Let's have a look. We've got a timestamp here. I think I better give you some video.
She was about here. It's a sort of like semicircle of flowers. She was around about here, so let's just see what we can hear.
I'm sorry, I don't know, David. I don't know. I don't remember. I can't remember what happened, but they were still there. Whether it's a ghost or whether it's a real person, I don't know. Red Snap says 31:19. Let's reply to comments 19. Timestamp here.
Is Paul McCartney dead? Mark Devlin now believes that Paul McCartney was in a car smash but didn't die. He was replaced by Billy Shepherd, but there are a few Pauls, and the real one is sometimes wheeled out on special occasions.
Right, okay, that's a Mark Devlin twist. Yeah, I've not heard of that one. I really hadn't, yeah. Reply to comments 19, Red Snapper says, supercavitation is a phenomenon where a large gas bubble, this is on reply to comments 19, or supercavity forms around an object moving at high speed through a liquid, significantly reducing drag and allowing for increased speeds. Do you believe USOs use this technology, which is used on torpedoes? Yes, I do. In fact, in my book, Roswell Rising, a Novel of Disclosure, available at all good bookshops now, price £10, I actually do include a USO, which actually does that, because, as you said, it can be used for objects such as torpedoes to make them go faster, and it also works. It could also work with the vehicle technically, which could explain why USOs can go so fast. Reply to comments 19. R.I.P. So this is probably someone who's passed away. This is Red Snapper.
Mindset Central. That's a great video.
Yeah, bless him. Old Gareth. 1:16:12. This is on 19. Red Snapper. Private timestamp in case you forget. No, what's this?
Actually, suggesting. This is the same video. Someone called Sergeant Bardoff Ravenhill 1968. That's a great name, that. I don't like this at all. Very big brother. Thanks for this footage. Are you...
All right. Yeah, he comes back under various names, that guy. Yeah. Private timestamp in case you forgot. In case YouTube forgot. Right. And then we now have Megalols by Red Snapper on 19.
Diego Rivera says on reply to comments 18, re-upload. Is this the Mandela effect, Ben? I think I've seen this before. Yeah, that's right. I'm sure there's some parallel universe somewhere where I didn't delete that video.
Oh, right. Yeah. Red Snapper says 19. What happens to the child slaves on Mars when they grow up? I don't know, mate. I don't know. I dread to think. Interstellar Object Update live stream. Lordanu says, you're really on top of things. This is me, Vincent. I called in the civilizations in your galaxy and universe. They are sending help to Earth. Oh, really? Vincent, I called in these civilizations in your galaxy and universe. They're sending help to Earth. I bloody hope so, man. I really, really do. Okay, barcodes for the homeless. Yes. And this is like, here we go. This is Red Snapper.
The big new temple to consumerism I talked about before. There it is.
Yeah. Bond Square, Temple to Consumerism, Westgate Centre. That's right. You must know a bit about Oxford, Red Snapper. Yeah. Yes, this was horrible. And then Red Snapper says this. Here we go. Here we go. This is Well, it was interesting. I mean, that's all he could tell me. So, all right, you Scrooge, Ben. After conducting the interview, you could have given him a quid. All right, that's because I did speak to one of the homeless guys about the new scheme, which is that they're barcoded essentially, so that people can donate money to them via this system. No, I don't donate cash or goods on the street, Red, and I'm going to stick by that principle. You may have seen my video argument with a homeless person. And despite that, I mean, I don't feel angry with him. Like I feel like in this case, I felt sorry for this guy that he was essentially being used to introduce a Big Brother scam. But doesn't mean I don't mean what I've said before. Doesn't mean what I've said before. I don't mean what I've said before about homeless people and about they play guilt trips on you and things like that, which I resent, and I stand by that. All right, we have grim military videos saying on bases 2024 Christmas seminars, complaining that people talking about the end of all things as being pessimistic is strange. It's the end. It's not going to be nice. Don't delude yourself. You can't fight back. Fighting back requires knowledge, something you and others do not have. Who is doing this? What companies? You don't know. You can fight, but you'll be swinging at empty air. Oh, man, we got a backslapper now. Now, yes, I think this person is a backslapper. Now, one of the rules of backslapper, I mean, I give a list of rules of backslappers. I'll just read them to you. All the 3 rules of backslapperhood. Here we go. If I can find them. Here we are. What are the 3 rules? I wrote an article about Andrew Johnson. Here we go. This is it. Do read this if you get the chance. This is I'm very proud of this particular this article on HPANWO Voice that I wrote in January the 29th. Here we go. Rule 1. All people except backslappers fall into 2 groups: shills and naive people who are duped by shills. Rule 2. Anything backslappers don't believe in is a psyop. Rule 3. Nothing in this world can ever get any better. The Illuminati have total power and can never be beaten. If anything happens that makes it look like the Illuminati are losing power, it's just a deeper and more devious act of the conspiracy that proves that their power is growing and they're winning even more. Only backslappers are clever enough to understand it and have the courage to face up to it. Yeah. I think, was it Grimm somebody? I think you qualify under this heading, certainly for rule number 3, Grimm. I don't agree with you. If you were right, the government wouldn't be panicking the way they are right now. They would not be panicking. So I think you misjudged the situation. Right, Red Snapper, barcodes for the homeless. We've got a timestamp here. A strange paradox, Ben. What's this?
And it is one of these strange contradictions of the modern world, that we have all this technology, we have all this grandeur. Look at this. Look how much this traditional Oxford edifice here costs. You just imagine it, can't you?
Yeah, I know. You get this opulence next to poverty. It's very sad. It's not all. I mean, it's not all because of the nasty old ruling class and stuff like this. I mean, all people can make decisions, and sometimes those decisions result in a decline in lifestyle, and sometimes it's our own fault. Both rich and poor can make those decisions. And when that happens, the only way you can get out of that situation by admitting you making a mistake and change, not blaming other people. Red Snapper says on the same video, is greater change still a thing? And Red Snapper says by 2033, greater change aims to have supported 40,000 people in total. Greater change's end goal is to contribute to policy change and see the end to homelessness for good. Great. I've not heard of greater change, but I mean, it would be great if that could happen. I mean, what I like about the greater change, yes, it's to do with homeless. It's a homeless charity. Yeah, it's this. Here we are. I mean, what's good about a lot of homeless charities nowadays is they are recognizing the source of the problem. It's not just that people lose money and things like that. It's mental health, it's addiction and things like that. So yeah, I wish them luck. You see, I do donate to charities like that. I don't donate cash or goods on the street, but I donate to charities, people who do things like that. Black Goo Trifle. Red Snapper says, wonderful, Black Goo Trifle. Where is the Black Goo band? Oh, they're still around. They're still around. I'm still in touch with them. Looks like a crop circle. All right, this is a Black Goo Trifle. Oh, this is this 2335? What's this? It's on Black Goo.
You get like lovely stuff, this, isn't it? Yeah.
It does a bit, yeah. It does look a little bit like a crop circle, I suppose. Yeah, it does.
Yeah. It's like a crop circle, really, isn't it?
It does a bit. It's very nice, the Black Goo Trifle, although I can't eat it every day, because if I did, as Alan Partridge said, I'd be dead. Confronting Droik. This was a good video, brave video, Ben. I added lots of comments, many of which did not show up, getting pretty demoralizing knowing half my comments don't show up. I'm sorry, mate, I really am. That's YouTube doing that, not me. It's nothing to do with my settings. I actually have got my filters, my spam filters right down low. HPANWO ice cream. Wow, are you going to reinvent the cooking series? Oh yes, I'll be a white Ainsley Harriet. Brilliant, he says on the same video. Thanks, Red. HPANWO yogurt 206. You insist on seedless grapes. Are they GMO? No. You can get organic seedless grapes. Red Snapper. Do you still watch Freely the Banana Girl? No. It was actually my ex-partner Sue. She got me into all the food stuff, and she used to watch these things. I used to watch them with her. There was Freely the Banana Girl, and she used to get into conflicts. She had a boyfriend called Durian Ryder, and they were both like, he was known as 40 bananas a day because that's what he used to eat. And they were fighting against the Western Price Foundation, which was like the paleo diet, that is meat and green veg and stuff like that. This conflict was unbelievable. Good video, says Red Snapper on HPANWO Yogurt. Thanks, Red. Thank you very much. 19, reply to comments 19. Red Snapper, would you ever drink a cup of hemlock? No, because I die. It's poisonous. That's what Socrates. It is when he was sentenced to death. They said, "Well, how would you?" In those days, you could choose your method of execution, and they said, "Well, we'll give you this cup of poison if you're willing to drink it." And he said, "Okay, I'll do that." It's probably either that or something painful, like being burned at the stake or whatever. So he chose to drink the hemlock, which is basically, it's belladonna. It's a poisonous plant. It's the berries, the same ones that they said the guy at the Detchmont Woods incident was poisoned by, which he wasn't. All right. Oh, this is a reply to comments 19. There's a long timestamp here. This must be a long one. Yes. Yeah. Well, this one's going to be almost as long, I reckon.
Oh, well, thanks very much, mate. Thank you very much. And this is the new upload you're watching now, and there will be more. There will be more.
Oh, right. I remember this hilarious that Alex Jones got caught with that. Was he? Got caught with what? I think you might have their timestamp wrong there. Red Snapper says on reply to comments 19, do you still have a vetting process for the HPANWO forum, or has troll activity declined? It's declined a lot, Red, but I still, I do have a form of vetting process for new members. I ask them questions, and after a while, I soon work out who they are, because the trolls are very bad actors. Right, Red Snapper says on 19, did you ever find out who Bob Branning was? Yes, he was one of the droiks. He contacted Peter Robbins as well. Oops, what's happening here? Did it? Oh, hang on. Is the timestamp going to appear? There we are. Oh, I've got two now. Oh, you got two timestamps. Yes, Bob Branning was one of the droiks. He actually contacted Peter Robbins to attack my character. Yeah. Is this all right? Reply to comments 19. Is this audio only? What is it?
When you don't identify yourself, and I've explained why you need to identify yourself. All right, I'm out of film. I'm going to have to go audio now. Okay.
All right. Yeah, I had to do an audio only version. The first for comments reply. Yes, that's because it was so long. And in those days, I used to use my bloody camera. I used to use my camcorder. I didn't use an on-screen recording app. Red Snapper, do you lament the ending of UFO Matrix magazine? I did. I liked it, I liked it. And it only ran for a few issues. I've got 3 of them still, which is nice. But I thought it was pretty good. I know the backslappers all hated it, and the backslappers were like prancing. They were like pelvic thrusting and hanging 10 all over the place, going, "Hey man, it's disinformation, it's a psyop," and stuff like that. But I thought it was well composed, well put together. You don't have to believe everything that's in it, but I thought it was pretty good. Reply to comments 19, good reply. Thanks, mate. Thanks, Red. So yeah, I regret UFO Matrix ended. Red Snapper says on reply to comments 20, do you ever order Chinese food to your house? Occasionally. I mean, it depends. I mean, that's interesting. You've already asked me a question like that. Right. Reply to comments 20, 11, 1, 11, 40. Over an hour. Oh, here we go. What's this? I'll put the timestamp in.
So, and I explain why in the video. So I think then the other alternative explanation, which is he actually did receive a real coded message by mistake.
Oh right, oh, yes, that's the straightaway thing. Over an hour though, Ben, I can barely remember anything that's been said. Either I'm starting to get a bit bored of these, or I was concentrating too hard to work, or do I have missing time? Oh, right. You got one of those jobs you can put things on your earphones. Called you're lucky. So do I. And he says here, I've just re-listened to the first hour, and weirdly, I remember a lot of it. Does that mean no missing time? Oh well, probably yes. I don't know if you get missing time. There are certain things you've got to look out for, Ed. And indeed, I've made videos where I've had missing time, and I sort of give people a few ideas about the kind of red flags. You know, it's called. I think it's what's it called? I can't remember what the video is. I think it's just called I've had missing time. 112 reply to comments. English TK says, thanks for answering, Ben. Not sure about it myself. Oh, you're welcome. You're very, very welcome. Reply to comments 20, 18. This is a timestamp here.
You know, things you learn when you're a hospital porter. Pentech UFO, Jack Parker says.
He says, it's a bit like the barber shop on a Saturday. Seems daunting and busy, but your turn comes around quickly. Yeah. That's right. That's what hospital porters. The porters are like the purveyors of gossip at the hospital. A Red Snapper says, reply to comments 20. Harry Pash died in 2009. Oh, bless him. Harry Pash was an amazing chap. He was the last last British combat veteran of the Great War. As he grew older, after he'd experienced the horrors of the trenches, he became an anti-war activist. In the World War II, he was a conscientious objector, and when he got older, he spoke out against the Iraq War and things like that. Yeah, bless him. He left behind some really amazing sayings and things like that. Right. Reply to comments 20. This is the year 1976, the year of the Ladybird. 2018 was the year of the Troll. This was a difficult time for Ben, was it?
People change that. God bless you. Thank you, Earth Dog. Thank you very much. That really means a lot to me. As I said in my HPANWO Radio New Year special, you could call 2018 the year of the troll, because I was attacked by trolls. What's weird?
Yeah. The year of the Ladybird. I mean, 1976 was famous for its fame. It had this huge heat wave, a record-breaking heat wave, where temperatures and dryness was still not surpassed to this day. Happened, and maybe ladybirds like that, so they increased in number. You know. But this was a difficult time. It was a very difficult time, with all the trolls. I had numerous troll attacks. Yeah. Red Snapper says on 20. Wow, was it Julian? Julian is a guy I met. I'll explain actually in Confronting Droik.
If I can find it, I'll find it. And I don't want your bitcoins. I think I know who you are, and I just need a little bit more suspicion.
Oh, right, yeah, someone was trying to bribe me with Bitcoin to answer their questions. Yeah, Julian is the leader of the Droid Trolls. Yeah, and funny enough, it's someone I actually met. Someone I knew on the David Icke forum under a sort of serious name, and I met him a couple of times at meetups. Yeah. What was the pub swap? Here we go. What's this? Okay.
And I'll get round to it when I can. Not important says on PewTube down. Need to go over to pub swap. What's that?
Right. What was pub swap? I don't know. I'll just Google it and see. Pub swap. Never heard of it. It may have been pub swap. Pub stuff, and then a pub swap Instagram photos, videos. No, I don't know. It may have been a platform that was around at the time. Red Snapper replied to comments 20. Chill out, lad. What's this?
I'd fall off the end. Okay, we got Richard Itchard again.
Oh, chill out, lad. Oh, I was perfectly chilled. Steve, how can Steve Mumbling support this guy? Says Red on 20. What's this?
And my employment. I'll read. Actually, I'm going to read this out just so you know who you're dealing with here. Okay, Steve Mumbling, are you listening? This is the guy who's your ally. Ben the jail porter was sacked from his porter's job for gross misconduct. A job, he says, is tougher than special forces. I didn't say that. See how the kid is begging for food. Right, this is in a video where I'm...
All right, yeah, that's... Yes. Steve Mumbling, I don't think Steve would actually go along with that. But this is the kind of things that Droid was saying. And Steve was like friendly with the Droid trolls for a while. Cable Green Premier. Red Snapper says, first, well done. Well done, Red Snapper, once again. And Hugo says, lol, this is fun. When I made my comment, there was nothing, so I thought I was first. I did a refresh and see your message. Fair play, Red. I see you were 2 minutes ahead of me, I concede. This happened before, didn't it, Hugo? And Red Snapper says, thanks. And nothing as it seems, says to Hugo. Silver tinfoil hat, more likely to a tin foil anyway. Yeah, Hugo, you get the silver, mate. Definitely get the silver. Cable Green Premier. Hugo says, hi, Ben and all. Ooh, me first, less than 1 minute, which is nice. Red Snapper says, when you reply to comments, Ben, he has already conceded he was second. He has indeed. But he might have had a few spliffs and forgotten, Red Snapper. Cable Green Premier. E.T. And he's got the E.T. extraterrestrial avatar there. I thought this had been scrapped. We waited for so long, I totally forgot about it. Yeah, I pretty much did as well, E.T. Yeah, I really thought we're never going to see this. But we did. DJ says, oh, no tinfoil hat for me. Mention in dispatches, DJ. You'll get your other chance, I'm sure. Neil Peel Paramore on Peep Show says on Cable Green Premier. Damn, I missed this upload at the moment. I have been editing our Ben in discussion with myself, Andy Chaplin, and Deborah Hatswell. That's right. That's coming soon on Paranormal Peep Show. Cable Green. Hugo says, Hugo Rune, I enjoyed this one. Nice one, Ben. Very informative for ignorant me and a welcome change from my regular boring viewing on YouTube. Thank you. You're very welcome, Hugo. Dark Corner says, can't wait to check out Cable Green. Oh, yay. Go for it, Dark Corner. It's really, really good. There'll be other showings for it, so even if you missed it this time, you'll be okay. We're nearly at the end now of this particular hour. Cable Green Premier, nothing as it seems says. Oh, Gary Neil says, did I miss Gary Heseltine at the premiere? Thought he was the main man from the filming at the beginning. He couldn't make it, unfortunately, Neil. He couldn't get there. There's a lot of people who couldn't. Dot Street wasn't there either, which is a shame. Not everyone could get there. Nothing says, in response from my Cable Green Rendlesham Forest inquiry. Cable Green is a documentary film that focuses on the Rendlesham Forest incidents, a series of mysterious events that took place in December 1980 in Suffolk, England. The film delves into the experiences of Larry Warren, an original witness and whistleblower, and other military and civilian witnesses involved in these events. It explores the strange occurrences, including unidentified flying objects, mysterious floating spheres, strange landed craft, and unusual beings which were witnessed by numerous US Air Force personnel and civilians over several nights. Yes, that's nothing. That's a good synopsis of the movie, yeah. Same video, Wayne Model Builder, same video. Bloody hell, it's finally been released. I can't wait to see it. I know, mate, I know. Heidi TTFN. Hey, Heidi. Heidi appears in the video. Great job as always. Thanks very much, Heidi. TTFN to you. And, okay, David Splendid Isolation says on reply to comments, YouTube, 112 YouTube, these long ages of millions of years are utter BS. What, really? Do you believe in, are you a young Earth creationist? It's not true. Honestly, David, there's so much science, geology, cosmology. It's honestly, the universe is like billions of years old, at least 16 billions, probably older. Bumbleina says on Cable Green Premier, I can't believe I missed this. I'm gutted. I always wanted to meet Larry and Laurie and all the cast, and definitely yourself. Damn. I'd love to meet you too, Bumbleina, but there'll be other opportunities. This is just the start. That crafty nihilist says on 112. Let's have a look. Bennis Channing is in a Liz here.
To this lift, because it's full of you people going down and going up again.
Oh, Ben is channeling his inner Liz here. I can't tell you how many times I've rewound this part and laughed my head off about it, Ben. Oh, thanks, Liz. Yes, I was expressing my rage. I was doing a bit of a slackser there, as well as a Liz, yeah. Crafty Nihilist. Did the coach take a different route, Ben? Oh, right. No, it didn't. It's talking about the possible Mandela effect I experienced on the journey. No, it's only one way to get to London. And that's along the A40, which then joins with the M40. It goes that way every time. Yeah, definitely went the usual route. Crafty says here on Awake and Aware, Ben, the Crafty Nihilist acquaintance uses Temple Meads Bristol daily. You should have said we would have got it for you. Oh, well, thanks very much, Crafty. But I don't really want it back. As I said before, it's too big. It's getting old and rickety, and I hardly ever use it these days. But thank you anyway. Reply to comments 20. Rusty, a red snapper says here on his timestamp.
Going on. Gatwick Part 1, Neptune Returns says, on Irish radio, they're blaming the Russians.
Probably the Russians and the English. Yeah, that was actually the famous incident with the drones. This drone scandal. I mean, this was before drones became a kind of standard go-to excuse to debunk things like the new weather balloons. But that's what they said at Gatwick Airport. Yeah, it actually probably wasn't actually drones. It wasn't UFOs they were covering up. It was the fact that their computer system crashed and they didn't want to pay out compensation to all the thousands of passengers left stranded. Anyway, that's the end of hour number 2. Back soon. And welcome, everyone. Welcome to hour number 3 of this particular Reply to Comments video. And we have here Reply to Comments 20. And what's happening now? There we go. And I say something. I don't think I'll click this link, but he says here, sounds a bit racist, that. I suppose I could click it and always edit it out. So what does he say? What is it that is? What do I say here that sounds a bit racist? Well, anything a white male says is racist these days.
See how people react, and how they can contain large crowds, but these people are being used in some way. You can bet on it. It's dark and it's against us. Well, yeah.
Is that what you mean? It's dark and it's against us. Well, yeah, I mean, I suppose if you say the rain in Spain rains mainly on the plain these days and you're a white man, someone will say, well, the rain in Spain, that symbolizes on non-white people you're oppressing. So you can't win, Red. Yeah. Oh, we've got here, right. 2 totally innocent people arrested. Typical skeptic mumbling, jumping the gun. There are no conspiracies. What's this? This can't be Lucy Connolly, and can't be Lucy Connolly because this was 6 years ago.
Why don't you go to Gatwick and see for yourself? And I posted underneath, keep watching till the end and watch the next one. Yeah.
Oh, yes, that's right. There was a man and his wife who were arrested, and they're suing them, and I hope they get every last penny. They're suing the police for wrongful arrest. Hope they bloody get it, I'll tell you. Of course, they were basically scapegoats because the Gatwick. What happened was all the computer systems crashed at the airport, and they basically made up this cock and bull story about drones, so they don't have to pay out compensation. One of the last things the late great Ian R. Crane did before he left this world was he actually did say that. He actually did a video about that, I remember. Yeah, I remember that very well. Good, bless him, Ian. Cable Green Premier. And we had Gary Robinson. Ben, mate, if you are in the movie, you should get yourself listed on IMDb and add it to your credits for the sake of historical record. Let me know if you need some help with this. P.S. Did they give you a screener disc or link so you can do a proper review? They didn't know, but... I don't know. I wouldn't demand that. I mean, I've seen it once. I think they may be worried that it could get lost or might fall into the wrong hands and it'll be pirated. I mean, that may be understandable. But yeah, I mean, I'll have a word with you about that, Gary, because you know what? I mean, it's not just Cable Green I'm in. I mean, I could put myself on IMDb simply for HPANWO TV, because I know other people who've put themselves on IMDb for vlogging and things like that. You know, Terry Joyce is on there. It includes her credits, of course, in the movie she used to make years ago, but it also includes Not My Rabbit Hole. Yeah, right. Gary says here on Cable Green Premier, the new 4K restoration of Kingdom of Heaven features an intermission which I really liked. There's something very civilized about intermissions in long movies. Yes, that's right. In my version of Ben-Hur, I've got the DVD special edition. They include the intermission. This is often like cut out from other like home media. They have like the big 20-minute intermission where everyone goes and gets popcorn and goes to the toilet and things like that. That was in the cinema when it originally came out. Because it is in such a large, it is such a long movie. It's an epic. Right, St. Theo's Watch Party 2025 review. Crafty Nihilist said, I'm not a hospital porter, but I can definitely see myself standing on the table and shouting, "Oh, fuck off, you big lamp," at somebody. I'm sure you would. We have to make you an honorary hospital porter, I think. Reply to comments 20, Red Snapper. Not heard that one. Egypt was built as a Victorian tourist attraction. Oh, this is the Jungle Surfer, isn't it?
Pusher. Another Hancock. That is Graham Hancock. Egypt is a tourist attraction built by the British in the 1800s.
Yeah, that is Jungle Surfer. Now, if you think I'm crazy, right? Anyone who thinks I'm crazy, just watch 5 minutes of Jungle Surfer TV, and honestly, compared to him, I'm Chris French. I'm not kidding you. Yeah. Oh, I've got audio only again. Yeah, on reply to comments 20. Well, I was using my camcorder in those days. Yeah.
Julian Carver.
Yeah, I had to. Well, in those days, it's when you think only as not that long ago, 6 years ago, I didn't use any like screen recording app. Yeah, strange that. I should. I'm a bit behind with technology. I always am. I mean, until I didn't even like splice things and do editing properly at all until like much long after other people had. Reply to comments 20. That Bob Branning guy is prolific. Probably Julian. It's certainly Julian or one of his cohorts. Absolutely, yeah. Yeah. Red Snapper. The Dr. Jonathan Reed thing was an obsession. No, I won't say it was a weird situation, and I mean, loads of people come out and debunked it, and I'm kind of like the Colin Woolford of that case because everyone else thinks it's fake, and I'm not so sure it's fake. And like Colin, I've put together like a case to describe that, a case to understand that. I mean, the thing is, the people who say it's fake, where do they go? Oh, they show me to the page on UFO Watchdog about him. Well, there's an entire section that Royce Myers has put up on UFO Watchdog. If you don't know who Royce Myers is, he's kind of the Stephen Cambion of the 1990s. Calling out the UFO circle jerkers and grifters. Wackadoos. UFO wackadoos. Reply to comments 20. Good. A marathon. Good comments. Good reply to comments. Thanks very much, Red Snapper. Capel Green Premier. So weird that you didn't recognize the place. Oh, right. Yes, this Mandela effect. Yeah.
It was wrong, and I look and I realise it is wrong. And when it comes to things like the Mandela effect, always don't go looking for these things, or you'll find them everywhere. And you.
Yeah, you got to wait till they sneak up on you. Otherwise, it's this glitch. And he says they've still got that glitch feeling. Less than I did, but I still feel that somehow I've not actually gone back to where I was. But that was very strange. I've done that route hundreds of times. On the coach, it's the way I always go to London. Of course, the next time I go there, I'm going to look for it again. Of course, I'll see it again, and if I ask other people who do the route regularly, they'll say, "Oh, it's always been like that." Just like the girl in the James Bond film has always not had braces on her teeth, and the Monopoly man has always not had a monocle, and Looney Tunes has always been Looney Tunes. It's a very, very weird thing, the Mandela effect, like that. Mark B says here on Cable Green Premier, damn, we did not know this was on in Suffolk. My wife wanted to meet Larry and is gutted. We were down Rendlesham for an all-nighter a few weeks back, but the truth is it's gone quiet these days. Apparently, there are unknown lights being spotted over the channel between Sizewell and Dunwich. Ala Bempton Flamborough, the last transmission on YouTube. Lots of similarities between both areas. So we are going to scope it out on the coast from there next week. Good to still see us still on YouTube, Ben. If we see or film anything, we'll let you know, Marky Boy. Hey, Marky Boy, I thought you sounded familiar. I'm sorry you couldn't make it to the premiere, but there are going to be more screenings of the movie. Don't worry. And you'll get your chance to meet Larry again. Both of you will, you and your wife. And yeah, I mean, the idea that the Suffolk coast is like the Bempton thing. It could be, yeah, it could be. I don't know. Very strange. Anyway, Cheers, Mark B. Capel Green. Check out the documentary called Fire Over Shingle. Not a UFO, but very interesting. It's about reports of burnt soldiers' bodies being washed up along the Suffolk coast in World War II. Oh, good. Fire over Shingle Street. Let's have a look. Fire over Shingle Street, Felixstowe. Refers to a World War II incident, or perhaps a series of incidents that took place near Shingle Street on the Suffolk coast. While the events remain debated, it involved a nighttime fire, sporadic gunfire, leading to rumours of a German landing. Oh, God. Yeah, he says the documentary, 2025 documentary. Ooh. Well, maybe that's something for a watch party. I don't know. Anyway, thanks very much, Mark B. Much appreciated. 14. This is Red Snapper on Capel Green Premier. Bloody hell, 57 quid a ticket. Wow. Yeah, well, British trains are incredibly overpriced. And it's not like you get a good service for them, you know. Tony Worrell said, would have been 56 for me to get the train from Portsmouth. I drove up in the end. Yeah, Mark B says, see that in the train ticket, as in the train ticket. Yeah. I'd have probably got the coach, or maybe I try to arrange a coach journey if I'd known it would be that much. If I go there again, I will. I will do that. Mark B says here on Capel Green Premier, LSB Productions, subject access required. Subject access requests is worth a watch. There's a template you can fill in and send to any supermarket. Ask for all the CCTV they have of you. 30 days to reply, and they can't, or they can be fined. I've submitted 2 since last week, just for the crack. We shop with cash from local independent grocers and butchers. You know, Mark B, you should watch my missing time video, because I was kicking myself for not doing that, because it could have confirmed when I was actually in the supermarket. Then I'd know pretty much. I wouldn't know. I mean, I had definitely had missing time, but I'd know kind of when it was, whether it was before or after. I actually had the, because I went to the supermarket, then went to the lady's house. You see, it was actually after 30 days that I got the idea to do that. It was a pain in the ass. Capel Green Premier. Here we go, 3103. Much safer than old key locks. Pervs can bypass electronic ones. Oh, right, yeah.
Stick them in there and you turn them, and they're good.
Yes, that's right. The Travelodge, where I was staying, and funny enough, a lot of the Travelodges at the service station seem to be like that. The one at Cardiff was when I went to Penturk. They use the old-fashioned key locks. You know, you just put them in there and turn. As you say, you can pick them with a hair grip or something, but you know, they're much, you know, you can bypass the electronic ones. You hack them and they can go wrong and things like that. Oh yeah, I love the old key locks. Capel Green Premier. The Wikipedia article says the original Eastgate was much smaller. Oh right, they put a new one on there.
I heard this from Holt. Colonel Holt said that a mantis beetle, some kind of white alien, like the ones that are often seen in conjunction with these cases, it climbed over a fence, and which is strange because the fences are topped with barbed wire. Though.
Yeah, that's I see. I didn't know that, Sir Red Snapper, about that. I should say also about I think, you know, maybe this is why I like the Russians so much, because the Russians are like that. They don't. They see the Russian hardware. It looks old-fashioned, but deceptively so. They'll use new technology when they need to, but they won't when they don't. It's like this old story about the pens, you know. NASA spent £5 million designing a pen that works in zero gravity. The Russians didn't bother. They just used pencils. That's typical of the difference between Russians and Americans. Reply to comments 112, David Splendid Isolation. On one, here we go. On a one-on-one, the mumbles would be destroyed by you, Ben. We have your back. Hashtag slay the dragon. Oh, maybe it's something to think about. Yeah, doing a debate with Steve Mumley. I've just done a debate with Terry Joyce. Actually, it was pretty good. It's on the channel. It's pretty good. Great. Keep Capel Green Premier. Wacky Racist says, "I love you, Ben." Oh, thank you, Wacky Racist. I love you too. I especially love Dick Dastardly and Muttley. That was cool. Oh, and the converter car. Professor Pat Pending. Yeah, I love that cartoon. Reply to comments 20. Awful comment. What's this then?
Foul period of the comments reply video. Okay, real life captured. Brother Porter. Get a grip and stop giving real hospital porters a bad name. You were sacked for being a weirdo, Ben. I know all about you. Oh, really? Want to say more? This is not very. You're not showing much Portering solidarity here.
Yeah, I know. What a dickhead, honestly. I mean, well, even if it were true, you know, I mean, if he thinks it's okay to sack someone for being a weirdo, depending on what was meant by weirdo, if he thinks someone a bit unconventional, then shame on him. Red Snapper says on reply to comments 20. Anyone who thinks there were planes on 9/11 is delusional. Right? Yeah, I mean, I think so. I'd explain why, but you know, I mean, this is where I do agree with Andrew Johnson. I can't stand him. He's a complete dickhead. But well, I won't see him again. He's going to stay out of my way, I'm sure. But for reasons I've explained, he and I fell out. But he is right about that, as is Dr. Judy Wood. Yeah. I mean, to believe there were planes, I mean, it's this idea, well, they crashed the planes into the building and then there was thermite. But how you put the thermite into a busy building, we don't explain. There's all kinds of other problems with the thermite idea, and it's probably just a muddle up, as Andrews calls it. Right, here's a timestamp on reply to comments 20.
He'll allow me back when he's got the place looking nice. Here we go. Neptune returns.
What happened to Neptune?
Says on reply to comments 19.
Jimmy
Wank Break went missing. His father went to the police station and said, "Do you have a wank break?" Hey, Wank Break came the reply. We don't even have a tea break.
I missed that first time round. Good joke. Yeah, it was quite funny. All right, Cable Green Premier. Stephen mumbling. I didn't know they showed. Oh, I've done it again. I've just reset the damn player page again. Scroll down. Every time I do this, I remind myself, God, I don't know. This is going to take ages. It's going to be a 4th hour, I think. Definitely. Not that I'm complaining, but I like these. I like lots of questions. I like lots of comments. I didn't know they showed science fiction films in Royston Vassy, says Steve mumbling. Ginskin Pivot says, to be fair, Steve, the documentary research phase garnered more interest, more witnesses and other experiences, and at least 3 different books on book releases. Some bandwagons appear to have monetary benefits. Yes, a bit like Richard Dawkins' The God Delusion, which is a very best-selling book. What a grifter Richard Dawkins is. You better criticize him, haven't you? Again, the double standard. For all the mountains of physics material, evidence supporting man landings, the entire Apollo can be doubted if you give credence to a few who claim to have seen anomalies. Then we go to Rendlesham, where the few who claim to have seen anomalies can't possibly be recounting anything but true events, despite a lack of evidence. More tea, Mr. Hatter. Oh, what a stupid comment, Jim. What a stupid comment to write. You know it's more than that. And if you watch the movie, you'll see it for yourself. It's not a science fiction film, as Steve says, and it's not Stowmarket is not Royston Vassy. Royston Vassy is from the League of Gentlemen. It's the comedy series. It's the comedy series League of Gentlemen, which is very funny. And Steve replies to Jin, I have to wonder why 3-Eye Atlas, 2-Eye Borisov, and Oumuamua were detected by our planetary defense system and not kept secret at all. They're all over the news. Yet they haven't seen one of the visiting crashing ET spacecraft alleged by the ETs is coming here and crashing here fanboys. It's almost as though it's all science fiction rubbish. Apollo deniers are invariably people with zero understanding of science and technology, making claims that are only supported by other people with zero understanding of science and technology. They happily make ludicrous claims about Apollo and any other number of crazy conspiracy theories they brought into without a scrap of tangible evidence to support them. They're just a waste of time. Okay. I'm not going to address the Apollo thing, which you and Jin have both mentioned, because we've covered that before. I'm not going to reply to things you said before. Now, the only point Steve makes here, there's literally only one point. which is a good point actually. Why is it that we detect interstellar objects by planetary defense system and not UFOs? The answer is, I think that the UFOs don't actually seem to, if they do fly here, they have ways and means of evading detection. I don't know if it's wormholes or whether it's a cloaking device, but they do seem to suddenly like just appear and then disappear. This was the case with Penturk. It's been a case with some of the UFOs in space. I mean, David Sarida's analysis of the STS, what is it, STS 78 footage. It's very, very interesting. That's the space tether with all the bits. They keep coming and going, popping in and out of space. That appears to be the answer. Cable Green. Paul Wells. Hello, Paul. Hello again, Paul. Your Boudica moment on this reportage was deep and very spiritual. Thanks, mate. You're welcome. You're welcome. I've actually made a video called One Long Boudica Moment, which you might like. Paul says, always great to see Larry Warren. He's looking well and in good spirits. Yeah, it is, isn't it? It's lovely to see him. And then Cable Green. Blimey, Ben, looked a great turnout for all for a lighthouse knot. Yeah. Oh, every seat was full, and indeed there were other showings as well that sold out. Paul says, bloody hell, can I ask, how many hotels have you been in during your UFO paranormal conspiratorial journey? Well, just one on this case, but I mean, other places I've stayed in more. Like when I went to Contact in the Desert, I stayed in 3, yeah, because I went to 3 different places. Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Yes, I stayed in Los Angeles for 2 nights. Then I went to Indian Wells for the conference. Then I went to Fresno to see Terry Joyce. Paul Wills says on Cable Green Premier, Ben, like someone commented on, where was Gary Heseltine? Oh, he sent his apologies. He couldn't make it, unfortunately. His daughter was there. His daughter came along. She was actually involved in the movie as well. Paul Wills says on Cable Green Premier, is Cable Green the name of the farm? Has anyone been interviewed from the farm? And Tony Worrell actually answers the question. It's the name of the field. That's right. The farm does have a name, and indeed, this does come up in the movie. The actual people in the farm, someone did comment on that. They did actually see something. They've also been very reluctant to talk to people. There's only a couple of times they've actually spoken publicly about this. My guess is they got a visit. Paul Wills says on the same video, Ben, the field the event happened in, did it have an Avebury type trench going around it? And it did go right around the field. Well, it didn't know. It was a normal field. It appears on very old maps. It's been called Cable Green at least since the 19th century, and there's old maps which show it. What it does have now is a very high fence, as if they want to stop people going in for some reason. So the original fence has been replaced by a very high fence, which is allegedly to prevent deer from jumping in. Although most deer fences, like you have like a big one and a short one. There's like a big fence in the middle and there's a short one on either side. So the deer can't like jump, because they can jump very high, deer, and they can jump over fences. Right, 108. This was Brave walking there. Oh, right, that's the road.
Pavements like this.
Yeah, I maybe I should have got a taxi. Maybe I should. But it was a bit hairy. Yeah. Red Snapper says from Cable Green, did you have anything from Brett's Bakery? Yes, I got some pasties and a lovely Brett Bakewell tart, and I love them. They're so pro cash, anti New World Order stuff. Yeah. Bit of what's this? This is looks a bit like.
Amazing. Look, I don't know if you can see it properly on camera, but there's these low cloud, there's high.
Hang on. Here we go. What's this? I'll show you this actually. Quite alien-esque artwork of your old school. Very apt, I think, considering your new world. All right, maybe I should do something for that on my graffiti video.
Clouds above it.
He says it looks like something. It looks like. Oh, sorry, wrong one. Looks a bit like the Iron Maiden Brave New World album cover. That's 2032. Let's have a look. I'm on there now. Yeah. Let's have a look.
I don't think it's chemtrails. I just think it's natural.
Beautiful, isn't it? Beautiful sky. Is that Brave New? Oh, let's have a look here. Here we go. Iron Maiden. Come on. Brave New. Oh yeah. Oh, it does, doesn't it? Yeah. Look. Yeah. It does, doesn't it? Yes. It's a very similar image. Yeah. I love the Iron Maiden artwork. It's really good. I used to have a calendar. I used to have an Iron Maiden calendar one year. I remember. Right, and then the alien-esque artwork at my old school. Yeah, this is.
Neither was this building over here, but I do like the artwork they've got.
Yeah, what I'll do is I might I won't show that now. I'll cover it on a future on my next graffiti video. I think. Good video, says Red Snapper. Thanks very much, Red. Much appreciated. Much appreciated, mate. Yeah. Right, YouTube recommendation change, and Red Snapper says paradoxically you're one of the biggest advocates for flat earthers despite being a roundhead. Yeah, oh, I know what this is about. One of the things they list is pseudoscience like the flat Earth, as if that does any harm. I am actually, despite being a roundhead, I'm one of the biggest supporters of flat Earth free speech, as I am for anyone who disagrees with me on things. Tony Worrell, hey Tony. Hi, Ben, it was great to meet you and have a chat to you. Looks like you were staying at the same place as wife and I. The civilian lady witness that's in the film was also staying there with a friend. They were lovely people. The film's the best made on the subject. I would recommend people see it in the cinema if possible. The cinematography is fantastic, and also the music. I've ordered that T-shirt you're wearing. Oh, cool. Nice one. The Capel Green T-shirt. And Tony adds here, it was not our hotel. Ours was 2.5 miles north of Stowmarket. Oh, there was another travel lodge actually to the north, yeah, which I didn't stay in. It looked harder to reach. Heidi was there too. But thanks very much, Tony. It was good to meet you too. And yeah, those ladies were in the car. I remember. Yeah. UFOs, a second reply to Stefan Molyneux. Red Snappers. This is another old one. Do you consider yourself a flying saucer cultist, or like Carl Sagan? I bet this is what it is, isn't it?
You're just repeating what Stefan just said there. Oh, they're just hoaxes, they're just hallucinations, they're just loonies, they're UFO flying saucer cultists, he said at one point.
Yeah, Carl Sagan, yeah. Do I consider myself a flying saucer cultist? I think that's just a derogatory way of saying someone who's interested in UFOs. That's all it means. And it's just a dysphemism, it's smearing, that's all it means. It's just a silly Orwellian insult. Oh, right. Did you ever, this is on the same video, did you ever read The Art of the Argument? No, I haven't read that yet. It's one of the millions of things I have to read, definitely at some point. Tony Worrell said, R.I.P. Derek Savory, a lovely human being. Yeah, Derek appears in several of my videos and he passed away, and I dedicated that video to him. Right, reply to comment 21. What's in your dragon juice squash? Oh, right, it's a vitamin C supplement. Also, I've got just cordial. That's all it is. Red Snapper says on 21. You disavow Steve re the moon landings here. Famously, you came back to debate him. Hang on, let's have a look here. What did I say?
Videos and listens to HPANWO Radio. Why give this cretin the time of day? Well, you know, Steve. I've as I said earlier on, I'm going to drop the moon landing thing with Steve now.
Well, I did. I came back to debate him with the Apollo detectives, and that was just because they wanted to do it and they wanted me on, and I wanted to. But you know, I made 3 reply to comments videos for Steve about the moon landings. I can't even remember what was in them. And there's a point where you have to just say, look, we're not going to disagree. Let's end this debate. You know, that's just what you've got to say. Red Snapper says on reply to comments 21. I wonder how long it's going to take him to get through all of them.
I'm talking about the Illuminati. You know what I mean? So you see, it is a point. You've got a point. I understand that, and it comes with certain hardships. This life, but it's what I am. It's what I've become. And as Morpheus says, you know, after you take the red pill, there's no going back.
Yeah. No truer words said. Would you want this life for your daughter? Are you sometimes glad she's a normie? Yes, although she's not that much of a normie. She's not completely anti, but compared to me, she is. I think, yes, but at her age, it's better to just look, focus on building a professional and personal life, I think. Red Snapper says, is fighting the NWO like trying to resuscitate a corpse? Let's have a look.
Explained on a previous video, this is one of my concerns, is that basically I'm trying to resuscitate a corpse, and I don't want that to be true. The thing is, if it's not true and I behave as if it is, then I'm essentially giving in.
It's fighting the right. Red Snapper, I don't quite understand the context there. Sorry. Is fighting the New Order like trying to resuscitate a corpse? No, because that's like got something pointless, something that's too late. I don't think it is. I mean, I do believe that you can fight the New World Order. I mean, it's like saying, well, there's no point trying to stop it. That's the backslapper line, basically. We're all doomed. We're doomed, and only we backslappers understand this. We have the intelligence and courage, and we're so much superior to everyone else. No, that's the backslapper line. I don't believe in a no-win situation like that. That line in Star Trek, Kirk said, I changed. I hacked the game and I cheated because I don't believe in a no-win situation. I very much endorse that. Praise Keck, says Red Snapper. I don't remember Keck. Keck was funny, man. Keck was like the
anymore
frog.
Either. Pepe the Frog. Praise Keck.
Oh yeah, that's kind of gone out of fashion, hasn't it, Pepe? Red Snapper, is Rudolf Steiner an inspiration for you? He's very interesting, Rudolf Steiner. He did there's a really good book that he wrote. It was actually a transcript of a speech he gave in 1915. And he talks about things such as the New World Order, the Illuminati. And weirdly enough, he talks about how a certain medical treatment, you know what I'm talking about, which the government were very keen for us to take a few years ago, could be used to alter people's brain function. So they can't achieve spiritual enlightenment, and also various diets and things like that. Very interesting. So yeah, in a way, is it inspiration? Red Snapper, is Colin Wilson's Spider World a series of favorite works by yours? I've never read them. I've read one book by Colin Wilson. It was one my mum left me when she died in a will. It was just, well, it wasn't formally a will. It just was, they gave her old books. But she was into Colin Wilson, and now I'm into Colin Wilson too, not least because he was a hospital porter. Porter's pride and dignity. Yeah, he was at the Queen's Med in Nottingham was where he served. So I've not actually read that yet, but I know he's a very intelligent guy. Even if he wasn't a hospital porter, I would say that actually. 221.51. Red Snapper, the New Age.
Malignant spirituality, and his own Slax's criticism of the New Age are very coarse.
Oh yeah, that's right. Snap after tedious snap after tedious snap. Yeah, New Age is like healthcare. You tend to think people in those movements or professions are compassionate and flowery. There are actually a lot of psychopaths in healthcare. Yeah, certainly in healthcare. But I mean, they don't try to hide it so much in conventional healthcare. In the New Age, you get people who all, you know, that phrase, they're all love and light until they're not. You know, there was one pseudo friend I had who was very New Age, who kind of got me into the Brahma Kumaris thing for a while. Oh God, when she turned on me, she did so with real viciousness. I never spoke to her again. Yeah. Oh, another word about Colin Wilson. Anthony Peake has just spoken at the Colin Wilson Society. And it's a really, really good lecture he gives. Really, yeah, they do a regular conference, the Colin Wilson conference, every year. Right, reply to comments 21, Red Snapper.
He says on Crash of the Lizard Prince, Ben, there is no evidence, not even circumstantial evidence, that suggests reptilians are real.
And he says, what's he talking about there? There are tons of evidence for Republicans. Sorry, I meant reptilians. There's more than you think, actually. There's people tend to, when you talk about the Queen's a lizard and stuff like that, Prince Philip was a lizard. Now King Charles, I suppose he's one too. the phrase you'll get, you won't say, well, that's not true, even though you provide lots of witness testimonies and things like that. No, that's too crazy to be true. That's too ridiculous to be true. It can't be. I don't even need to look at it. It's so crazy. It's so different from what I believe the world is to be, that they reject it out of hand. This is why David Icke says the biggest secrets keep themselves. They don't need suppressing. People will keep them. People will reject them without even looking at them. Right, here we go. There's another timestamp here on 21. Red Snapper, of course. Who else?
The royals don't get cancer because they can afford to eat only organs.
That's interesting, but they are getting cancer now. Do you think it's fake? No, I don't. Well, with Kate, I mean, that's a good question, actually. I can't think of why they would fake it. This doesn't mean it won't be faked. Anyway, here we go. Right, Red Snapper on 21. Lol, Prince Philip. All right, him, yeah.
Stan Smith says he was probably pissed or high on baby meat.
That was weird when he crashed his car. Yeah, this is like he shouldn't be driving anything other than a mobility scooter. Reply to comments 21. These replies to comments are epic. The Range Rover shapeshifter.
First off, Meghan Markle is a trans man. I don't think she is.
Oh,
there's no.
That's PJ again. That is Jungle Surfer TV again. All right. Cable Green Premier. Here we go. Oh, we got Gin Skin Pivot. I need to trigger them. 5 minutes 52 in. This is the thing with the Mandela effect. It's unprovable. Yeah, that's a quote by me. But the falsity of it being anything other than a brain fart isn't, i.e. the larger numbers and more direct, pertinent memories of the accurate account always been that way. The Monopoly man never wore a monocle, as Parker Brothers will confirm, and Nelson Mandela didn't die in prison, as his wife will attest. Therefore, if it occurs only collectively in a minority who can't ever know the totality of their own numbers, or when one person relates a false memory to another, and the listener hesitantly agrees, yeah, I thought it was as well, it must be a brain fart with no significance whatsoever. And then he quotes me again, the Mandela effect changes the past as well as the present. In your words, rhetoric. In mine, total bollocks. It's a false memory or failure in accurate cognitive recall. The time change element is your own invention to help you convince yourself it is both real and selective in who torments with random pointless trivia. Selective in who torments with random pointless trivia. That's a good phrase. Right. Firstly, yeah, the reason I don't believe it's a brain fart, and I've discussed this with people. I debated Michael Marshall of the Skeptics with a K podcast on this matter. I know very well that the Monopoly man never wore a monocle. I know very well if you look up now in the Looney Tunes, you'll know that it's always been called Looney Tunes. But the fact that lots of people remember it differently, it would be, it could be if it was confabulation, and confabulation exists. If you watch a movie you haven't seen for 25 years, it'll be different to how you remember it. Indeed, that happened when I watched Hammer House of Horror. But in this case, we have millions of people across the world confabulating the same thing. Now, if that's a coincidence, it's a pretty big one. The other alternative, especially seen as this is quite a recent phenomenon. This wasn't unknown before Fiona Broome started talking about it in like 2013 or 2014. Funnily enough, just after the Large Hadron Collider had started, it could alternatively it could be an effect that machine or some natural process is having on the fabric of reality. That's another possibility, and I think it should be taken seriously. And you say you think you misunderstand what I mean by the word rhetoric as well. And I've already explained to you the difference. Rhetoric is essentially where you don't provide an argument, but you use a lot of adjectives to describe something. So, for example, anyone who believes in alien abduction is a liar, a simpleton, and a fraud. Anyone who's things like that. I discussed this in my skeptic talk. So I disagree with you over the Mandela effect. Lab base says here. Interesting article in the recent National Geographic about the Mandela effect. Have I put on I'll put on a comment reply, yeah. Being made worse by AI. False collective memories are most common in millennials, as they are the heaviest social media users on sites like Reddit or Instagram. Part of what makes memory so fallible is the hippocampus part of our brain is used for both memory storage and imagination. This could explain why that people who often believe conspiracy theories claim to be having Mandela effects, as their hippocampus is more prone to misinterpretation of memories and an overactive imagination colliding. When a memory is recalled, it doesn't play it back, quote unquote, it reconstructs it, making it susceptible to misremembering. An individual fills in the gaps with details they might expect to be true based on stereotypes, or they might filter it through emotions, remembering what happened as better or worse than it really was. This doesn't completely explain the Mandela effect. Deepasari Prasad's research into the effect determined that what people misremember is consistent and becomes stronger with repetition. The idea of solidifying false memories through repeated exposure is part of what could make false AI images such a risk. Misinformation, especially when presented as truth, repeatedly definitely can lead to creation of false memories, or at least doubting your own memories. If the Berenstain Bears are a standout example of the Mandela effect, then the viral AI image of the Pope wearing a giant puffer jacket is an example of the world of AI. Personally, I just see individuals like Trump being susceptible and repeating nonsense as they truly believe it. Brackets, they stole the election. All right, I've not read that. Lab-based, that sounds like an interesting article to read, actually. And the thing about AI is almost everything is made worse by AI, I found. And indeed, I feel sorry. I actually wouldn't want to be younger than I am. I wouldn't want to be like one of these millennials. I wouldn't want to be my daughter's age. Or worse still, younger than her. At school today would be horrible. Now, as far as the brain works, I'm not a neurologist, and I know there's a lot of analysis been done. Dr. Karen Douglas, as you know, has done big studies on people like me, and how the way memory works and the way memory is recalled is very, very. It goes through certain processes that are influenced by our psychology, and indeed, you may be aware that I have reported déjà vu experiences at times. Déjà vu is an example of memory, what could be a memory defect. Although Anthony Peaks has another theory for that. As for the Mandela effect, you're honest enough to admit it doesn't completely explain that. And indeed, I've already explained to Jinsky and Pivot why I think that's not the case. It's not the fact that we misremember. It's not the fact that we have overactive imaginations. It's the fact that you have confabulation of multiple people around the world confabulating the same thing. And this is not something that's kind of built. There's no culture or increasing prevalence of myth or neo-mythology in the world that could explain the Mandela effect. It emerged very suddenly in the early 2010s. Very suddenly indeed. And that's the most interesting. That's the most interesting part of it. Now, AI, of course, I saw the puffer jacket, the Pope with the puffer jacket on. I didn't have any reason to doubt it. I didn't have any reason to doubt it at all. There's probably other examples of this. This has made the world of paranormal and UFO cryptozoological research. It's made visual evidence practically worthless these days, unless there's other evidence to back them up. It's just not worth it. If an alien just jumped out, or Bigfoot jumped out of the bush in front of me, would I bother to photograph it? Would it be any point? Who'd believe me? Yeah. As for the, I'm not going to go into the stole the election thing now, but I am off the Trump train anyway. And Jin says to Lab, yes, that's a good comment, by the way, Jin. Lab, very good indeed. I'll check out that article. And says the lab-based, understand. Once a supposed phenomena acquires a name, it becomes a thing. And once it gathers a consensual context, however small, then it becomes a phenomenon. The snowball principle then takes over, and it garners mass as it rolls around. Those inclined to place significance on it then drape it with ludicrous self-validating embellishments, such as it changes the past as well as the as the present. Personally perceived faulty experiences of memory physically change about as much as dreams do, but we can all wake up and feel deeply affected by emotions we experienced in the dream, be it fear, relief, melancholy, or sadness. Such is the power of the mind. It affects that individual, but has no relationship to anything other than the self. Deja vu is similar to how an event... Oh, I'm glad you brought this up. How an event may glitch and instantly store itself in the wrong memory slot, i.e. the past happened slot, instead of the present happening one. I think Ben may spend too much time steeped in his own passions and consorting with eccentrics who, just like the Apollo hoax nuts, never disagree with one another. Right. Yeah, it's true that there's such a thing as a phenomenon becoming a thing. That does happen, and the snowball principle takes over, and that's how many memes begin. That's how I mentioned the Keck thing, the Peppy the Frog thing. That's kind of an example of that. There's many other examples of that. That's how internet memes arise. However, and you then mentioned its significance on it, drape it with ludicrous, self-validating embellishments, such as it changes the past as well as the present. I think if this had built slowly, say from the 1970s, you might have a point, Skin Pivot, you might have a point. But the fact that this exploded so quickly and so instantly in 2013, it was when Fiona Broome heard from this person who said, I remember Nelson Mandela dying in jail in 1986. I remember the Trevor McDonald special on BBC One. I remember all the documentaries. I remember the news stories. I remember the big funeral. And it never happened. Indeed, and what's funny with maybe it's because Mandela died then that this all came out, but Fiona Broome then found many other people who remembered Nelson Mandela dying in 1986, and that's the thing. That's the point. This is not something that grew by the snowball effect. This is a massive dollop of snow that just suddenly dropped on us, and it doesn't make sense by your model. And you mentioned the perceived faulty experiences of memory change as much as dreams do. Yeah, yes, true. That's absolutely true. And indeed, I've had dreams which make me scared to go to sleep again, nightmares that make me afraid to go to sleep again, or remembering things that make me feel very sad. I've had nice dreams, happy dreams as well. But I mean, whether or not these can affect our waking life, and indeed false memories, you could say, would be similar to dreams. People don't dream, millions of people don't dream the same thing every night. If they did, it would be very significant. And what do you say about deja vu? Now, I mean, I don't have time to go into details on this, but I've had deja vu experiences. There's several theories about what causes them. Anthony Peakes is the most interesting. And he claims it's the only one based on real science. And it is, of course, his cheating the ferryman hypothesis. We are literally remembering something that did happen before in a previous life. The last sentence, I think Ben maybe spent too much time steeped in his own passions, consorting with eccentrics who, just like Apollo nuts never disagree with one another. Well, you see, I tried consorting with normies, but they said they can't stand me, they can't bear me. So I have to consort with my other woo-woos. I have no other choice. But woo-woos disagree with each other. They do. And not necessarily Apollo hoax people. I mean, some of them do. You have flat earthers in the Apollo hoax community. And you have others like Jarrow White disagree so much with the flat earthers that he won't even speak to them. So what you call Apollo hoax nuts, in other words, people who doubt the official story of the Apollo moon landings, we have our little factions as well. And indeed, I'll give you other examples of woo-woos who disagree. And Jin then says to lab-based, he has a second reply to lab-based here. And AI will quickly become a cancer, and social media will ensure it is effectively metastasized for nefarious purposes, particularly in the woo-woo community. Software will ultimately be mankind's undoing. Unfortunately, Jim, yes, it's going to be weaponized. In fact, it already has been. And I think it's pretty clear that almost anyone who can use it will use it for their own purposes. This includes the government, but it includes individuals as well. And as far as you mentioned, particularly the woo-woo communities, yes, absolutely. And I've already mentioned the awful situation, this appalling signal-to-noise ratio problem we have now. That whenever someone takes a photograph of something weird and they publish it, the cry goes out, fake as Jordan's tits, get a life, students do it, stuff like that, okay? And unfortunately, in this day and age, they might be right. That's the problem. I mean, you know that I was like, this actually came up the other day because of the Carl Waby crop circle footage, where there's that ball of light that goes around the crop circle, and you see it suddenly appear in the field. That was published in 1994, and it came up on Twitter the other day. And then someone asked me, "Do you think this is real?" And I said, "Yes, I do think it's real. But if it appeared today, I'd just laugh it out in a heartbeat." So that's the world we live in. Good comments, guys. Despite the fact I disagree with you all, it's pretty good. And we got near-death experiences read party review first, says Red Snapper. Well done, Red. How am I doing for time? I think this is going to go into a 4th hour, and that's before I even get on to the Alt Tech exclusives. Well done, Red. Hugo Rune. Yet again, Red, you claim to be first. It's hard to judge. I conceded last time, but now I'll say no, I was first. Hugo, I think Red, according to me, Red was first. Sorry, Red was, I'm afraid. Yeah, you're pretty good. You're a good rival here. You keep pipping him at the post. Red Snapper says, I did not see you when I posted. I think you waited an hour deliberately, so we did not see the minute counter. Now we will never know. Hugo says, no, I think I've been watching for an hour. Oh, I see what you mean, silly me. All right. I think we need a steward's inquiry here, guys. And then the next comment. I must be the first. Thanks, Ben, for my evening's entertainment. You're welcome, Hugo. And Red Snapper says, me first, underneath it. And Red did actually post one first. But, that's it. Near-death experiences read party review, says Hugo Rune. Oh, dear, Ben, your curry and toilet comment. The madras and the chilies, thanks for the memories. Sadly not able to eat them now. All right. Oh, dear. I'm sorry to hear that, mate. Is that... Oh, dear. That's just... You figure you reach a certain age and it's like, oh, your stomach can't handle things like you used to. Near-death experiences read party review. Hatchie. Hello, Hatchie. How are you? Ben, bless you. I've listened to the show when it comes to mushrooms. One does miss Kev Baker, think church and buildings of different faiths. Love and respect, Ben. It's all a journey. Be good, my friend. Thank you, Hatchie. Much appreciated. And Hatchie says here, you're a good man. Oh, thank you. Much appreciated, mate. Much appreciated. Hugo says, no more comments for now. Too distracting. But I'll watch this again tomorrow and make comments. Just want to watch for now. That's cool, mate. And whenever you like. And then Hatchie says here on near-death experience, spirituality, Ben, love and respect. Oh, you're welcome. And Anthony Peake himself has commented. I put a love heart on that already. Ben Anthony says, thank you so much for this fair and balanced and extensive review of my latest book. You're welcome, Anthony. I'd love to interview you, mate. I'd love to get you on the show and do like a proper interview with you. Yeah. Reply to comments 21, Red Snapper. Will you apply for the recent Sharia law administrator's position? The one Nigel Farage was angry about. I don't think I'm really qualified for that. And indeed, probably Nigel won't be angry forever. You know what he's like. He chops and changes all the time. I personally don't care what the Muslim community do in their own community. They're entitled to have their own system if they want it. But it must never become legally binding. That's the point. Red Snapper, reply comments 21. Does third wave flat earth theory originate from Eric Dubé's videos? Probably from his books, actually. And I read one of them. I think I read one of his books. So it's the third wave flat earth theory is quite a recent thing. I don't think the backslappers say it's a psyop. It's a psyop, man. But
she was so frail. Either way,
I don't think so. I think it's just a phenomenon. It just happened to take hold of its own accord, I think.
Not a great believer in aliens or shapeshifting. The fake crash was staged to push a traffic agenda. They don't want people to travel, full stop. Most of the royals are transgenders. Meghan and Kate were not pregnant because they are.
He says, lolo. Yes, that's bloody PJ again. That's Jungle Surfer TV, who is he's a fruitcake, but he's hilarious. Right, awful comment. Did you block? Who's this? Oh, right, it's another person being insulting, I guess. Yeah.
Totally wrong. Right, Artography says facing the Danes. You do sound like a truffle peg from time to time. That's on Facing the Danes. Yes, I know, and it's. Oh, well, I'll go. There's some more comments here. Hang on. I'll just carry on with things. I've told you why when I'm talking, I get this sniffle in my nose, I get coughs, I get yawns.
I don't think I did block him because that's not really, you know, to be honest, you know, that doesn't bother me that much. It doesn't. I mean, you may think that's weird, which, oh, that's rude. I blocked the bastard, but it doesn't. It doesn't bother me. A lot of people actually have come to me and they said, "Why don't you block Steve Mumbling? Why don't you?" And I said, because he's pretty harmless. I mean, maybe I've just developed a very thick skin because I've had to put up with the droids for so long, you know. So no, I didn't block him for that. I wouldn't block somebody for something as really innocuous as that. Miriam Johanna said, "Oh, right, this is on the sun is in the wrong place." Yeah, that's an interesting video. I still can't explain that, you know. I still can't explain what happened on that day. And Miriam Johanna says, "I've noticed it too. I'm from Pennsylvania, USA." Oh, thanks for commenting, Miriam. I much appreciate that. Could you perhaps send me some details? I mean, you'll find the email address on the HPANWO TV blog if you want to look it up, or just like I'll post you my public email here. There we go. There we go. That's my public email if you want to give me more details, because I'd be interested to hear from you. Tessa1111 says on Cable Green Premier, "I hope you haven't had a TSI, transient ischemic attack, a mini stroke where your memories get jumbled." I don't think so, Tessa. This is again talking about the possible Mandela effect. And that's because if I had, I think there'd be other symptoms. For example, I'd have paralysis in parts of my body. I'd probably suffer from momentary, you know, short-term unconsciousness, things like that. So no, I didn't have a TSI, I don't think, or TIA, whatever it is. But thanks for your concern, Tessa. I'm okay. Red Snapper says on Reply to Comments 21, "How is David Boyle today?" He passed away a number of years ago. Yeah, I did. I went to his funeral. I did. It was a very moving event. Oh, The Village film review. This is an old one, and this is one of my earliest videos. I remember. Did you mourn the death of Hulk Hogan? I didn't know much about him. I know he was a big Trumper, but I didn't know much about him. He was sort of like when I was a kid, he was kind of like a big star. When American wrestling kicked off, he was like there was a big American wrestling craze in like the 90s. And he sort of like was part of that, and used to come on stage and rip his shirt off and stuff like that under the ring. And but I don't know much about him. Right, reply to comments 21. Mega reply to comments. "Can you reach 7 hours next?" I think I reached 9 at one point. I challenge you to watch all that, mate. Near-death experiences re-party review. Red Snapper, "Is Twin Peaks your favorite ever esoteric series?" No, but it's certainly one of the good ones. It's certainly one of the good ones. Yeah. Red Snapper, "Scary sleep paralysis for you and Sue. The hag-like figure at the window, although Sue did not see anything." Yeah. That's weird because I've had sleep paralysis many times. In fact, I get it so regularly it doesn't bother me. I get it probably about once or twice a month. But in this case, there was an entity there, which I described, this horrible old woman. But I was asleep experiencing this while my partner, Susan, at the time was awake. She was sitting up in bed reading. And when I woke up, I said, "Did anything weird happening?" And she said, "No, you were just lying there asleep." It's very strange. Cable Green Premier says here, oh, this is Cable Green Premier, and someone says, who is it? Over the Moon, that's a good name, says, "Hi, Ben. Thanks for posting the AI video. I've taken a look as you suggested. Unfortunately, it's over 2 years old, which is the fast-moving world of AI development and training is quite a significant gap." That's right. "May I suggest this newer video and its subsequent parts as a reference and consider producing an updated version of your video? It'd be great to see your take on more recent advancements and approaches in hardware scale development and tools and training." I think you are a spam bot. I don't know. Let's just click this and see. Luckily, it's a hyperlink. I wouldn't have bothered cutting and pasting it.
In a world where knowledge shapes destiny, one creation dares to redefine the future. From the minds at XAI, prepare for
Over the Moon Multimedia. Yes, you are a spam bot. You're a spam bot, so I'm not gonna. I won't add any more to that. But you see, you're not. You're honestly, you use my name and everything, and I didn't post that. That's not an AI video. That's a bit of a giveaway. At first, when you said it's thanks for posting the AI video, I thought you were a troll and you're going to be sarcastic and say, we know that Cable Green is AI. But no, you're a spam bot. Right. Oh, this is there's a timestamp, and Red Snapper is laughing on this is on review.
Dawkins's opinion, the struggle of atheism against religion is nothing less than the battle of truth against ignorance.
But wait a minute, I must interrupt you. It is exactly what I'm saying. It is impoverished.
Oh god! I don't think I show you too much of this.
Nothing unusual.
All right, I'll that's enough. But they give him this. They put this god helmet on. Yeah. Oh, Richard, what a tosser he is. He's so far up his own arse he could kiss the inside of his own tonsils. Right. Oh, wow. Good part. This is on review. What good podcast, says Red Snapper. Do you now consider Peak the preeminent global authority on NDEs now? Yes. I think now Peter Fenwick has died. I think he probably is. Yeah. And then that book is definitely the most detailed scientific study into the subject ever. It's got to be. It really, really is. Right, St. Theo's Watch Party 2025 review. Red Snapper says, what's the cool music at the start? Oh, right, yes, at the end as well. It's called Aurora Borealis by Bird Creek, and I use it as the theme music to... It's free AI music, and I use it as the theme to the Gas Banner show, which I do every Sunday at 8 p.m. if you want to go. Happy belated St. Theo's Day. Thanks, Red Snapper. My own was... Because I was away for St. Theo's Day, I had to do mine... I had to make it a different time. Right, St. Theo's. Red Snapper, do you ever dream of a hospital portering film where the porter is cast as an action star, with say The Rock starring? Oh, right. Yes, in fact I do. And the reason I dream of that movie is that film is because I've written the book to be adapted, from which it can be adapted, and that book is called Evansland, and it's a free audio book on HPANWO TV if you want to listen to it. But I often say that will make a good movie. I reckon I can even see the people who'd be playing the characters. Yeah, it really will. Oops, what's that noise? Oh, that's another Opera browser. Details are hidden while you share your screen. Well, I'm not sharing the bloody screen. Hold on. Where am I now? Okay. Right, same video. That was on review. That's on St. Theo's review. Please do a video of the problem with drunkenness in hospital portering. Has it got less bad since porters came in from abroad, for example, Muslim countries? Right. From what I've seen, no, it hasn't. Although I've been out of it now for 13 years, so it might happen. The time I was in there, it didn't get any better, despite the fact we had more Muslims as porters. They were as heavy drinkers as anyone else. Very few Muslims actually are that orthodox that they don't drink. There's a handful of teetotal ones, but not many. Okay. Here we go. So that was the next part. Red Snapper 12:30. Andy's a Harrovian and Oxfordian. You must have had some good conversations with him, being a hello porter of high intelligence. All right. And indeed, HPing, it tends to attract those kinds of people for some reason. I mean, there's one in particular I remember, actually. He was actually he was a Harrovian. He'd been to Harrow School. Yes, a lovely chap. And we did have some... He was a bit difficult to talk to because he was kind of autistic. He used to come up to you and say, hello, Ben, and he'd give this very long monologue about some subject, and you wonder what the hell is he talking about. And then he'd say, see you later, and he'd walk off. But he was a very, very likable old man. He really... I say old, he was probably 50-something when I first met him. Today, I don't know if he's still alive. He'd be pretty old if he's still alive now, but yeah, I really did adore him. Yeah, he was a lovely chap. Here we go. This is on the same video, and it's Red Snapper. Hey, you sure? You said in different videos you weren't sure. What's this? Are you catching me out on a... It's where these aliens managed to communicate telepathically with a man on Earth, Arthur C. Clarke. I know he's a nonce. No Morning After. It's a really good short story. Yeah, I mean, you're saying Arthur C. Clarke. I think... I'll have to check that out. I don't want to defame the man, and I'll put a correction if I'm wrong. But there you go. Red Snapper says on St. Theo's Watch Party live stream, how disappointing so few people watched the movie. Were you disgusted? No. One thing I've made a point of doing, Red Snapper, is is not to put pressure on people to like watch and play along or do these sorts of things with my channel. I can't. I mean, people who do that, you get people who say, "Oh, I noticed there was a lack of interest in my last video. It only had so many views. I don't know why you can't watch it, people." I think it gets even worse where people say, "Why can't you watch my videos? It didn't cost you anything." And they start putting pressure on their own subscribers and viewers to watch. You can't do that. Once you start doing that, you'll drive them away because nobody owes you their attention. It's your job. It's completely on you as the content creator to create content that's so good that people will want to watch it. So no, I wasn't disgusted. It was an offer. I just suggested, and the watch party was like a suggestion that people can get involved with, or they can not get involved with. I'll leave it entirely up to them. Rick Wright, near-death experiences read party live stream first, says Rick Horden. Well done. Red Snapper and Hugo Room are going to battle for second and third place, but you get the gold tinfoil hat, definitely. Same video. How am I doing for time? Oh, I'm over. I'm over by 4 minutes. All right. This is going to go on to the 4th hour. All right, guys and gals, welcome to the 4th hour. I told you this would be a long one. I'm going to start doing these more often. I really am. So, near-death experiences read party live streams. Hatchy says, we live in a world of bullshit, Ben. Movies ain't the real world. Well, I know, but the movies can sometimes, you can tell truth with lies, as they said in V for Vendetta. You can express real things with artwork. This is what my books are about. Roswell Rising novel disclosure available. All good books are stamp price £10. And Gary says here, movies ain't the real world, but there's certainly good escapism from it. They certainly are, Gary. They certainly are. Well, not all of them. Do the opposite, but yeah. I like the ones that do. I mean, the thing about escapism, people see it as a weakness or as like being stupid and childish. But no. It's escapism. People who get involved in escapism, they're looking after their mental health, basically. And in this world, with all its horrors, if you don't do that, you could just go crazy. And you're no use to anyone if you lose your mind. I know there's people say, especially the backslappers, they say, I'm not going to get involved in escapism. I'm going to face reality head on. The MBAers do that as well. So the backslappers and MBAers essentially are saying, well, I don't need this sort of thing because I'm tough enough to face reality. The problem with that is that you may think you're tough enough to face reality without anything to counterbalance that, just to look after yourself, because you are a human being. And the belief you don't have vulnerability, you don't have the same vulnerabilities as everyone else, is a big mistake. And you know what? You're not impressing anyone, and you're not doing anyone any favors. And you're not doing yourself any favors or anyone else. There is no valor in being a false martyr. Find something you love and just spend a little bit of time every week doing that, even if it's got nothing to do with what you look at normally. Or if you're like me and you just can't look away from what's going on, when you indulge yourself, when you sort of like indulge yourself in this world that we're in, do it in a way that's fun or interesting or just light-hearted. That's what I do, because I can't like turn off from all this, but I can make it fun and light-hearted. Hatchy says, oh my God, laugh on the near-death experiences read party live stream. I don't know what made you think that way. Are you still with us, Ben, says Hatchy? Yes, of course I am. You just seen me on your monitor. Okay, same video, live stream. David Splendid Isolation. Oh, pardon me. They filmed a sequel film to 28 years back to back, which will be released next year, 28 years later, The Bone Temple. I was well impressed with this third film. Danny Boyle is his best. There's a derivative of Jimmy Savile cult in it. Bizarre but funny. Yeah, I watched about half of 28 Days Later, and I thought, no. I'd just been into the Romero films, and I thought this is not as good, so I gave up on it. And Gary says underneath to David, I didn't know that. I liked it, but I've not seen the first two. Am I right in thinking it was filmed with a phone camera? Cole Costello. I believe there's going to be about 6 in all. Not sure how I feel about that. To answer your question, Gary, it wouldn't surprise me with these days. I mean, Sandra Deroy's Awakening of 12 Strands was filmed with a phone camera. If it were the thing is, if it was a film camera, it wouldn't just be a normal one; it would be a special one because, yeah, it would need like. I mean, some filmmakers will use like weird hardware just for the sake of it. Like there's some modern filmmakers who will they'll make a film but they won't use any artificial lighting, and even though it's half of it's like in shadow, they won't care. That Revenants was like that. Or they will use they'll use like a 1960s like 16mm movie film just for the sake of it. They're very eccentric people, film directors. And David says underneath here, the first film was deliberately mostly filmed on SD digital video to produce a more raw effect for the apocalyptic, shocking aesthetic. The last few minutes were filmed on film. The next films are going to be filmed on film. That doesn't surprise me. You know, David Lynch's last film, Inland Empire, that was filmed using like a camcorder, and not a modern one either. I saw one from this was made in I think in the late 90s, was it? And he used a camcorder from the early 90s or something like that. I can't remember the details. I'll tell you who knows that. My friend JZ, my hospital porter friend, knows all about that because he's a big Lynch fan. He actually recommended that to me, and someone gave me the DVD as a present. I found it very surreal. I mean, it was almost as surreal as Lynch's first movie, which was Eraserhead. David then says underneath to Cole, if true, then it could, as a reply to Cole Costello, if true, then it could, this is like replying to his, there's going to be 6 in all. If it's true, then it could be good if they keep up the quality. Danny Boyle and Alex Garland should remain involved to make that happen. Alex Garland's a pretty good writer, actually. He's a good novelist. He wrote The Beach, which was quite, which I read before it became a not so good movie. But he also wrote the script for Never Let Me Go, which was actually pretty good. Let's think about parallel universes. Oh, Over the Moon. For God's sake, you're a bloody chap. Oh, Over the Moon is back. This spam bot. Go away. Oh, what's this now? Oh, Over the Moon is now. What's this? Grok 4 over the 2 years. Oh, what's this? I don't believe it. The use AI. This person has been analyzing me. This thing has been analyzing me. Person. Use AI tools effectively. Users must shift their expectations and approach. Rather than querying about haunted houses, Helen Duncan, the Loch Ness Monster, or Sasquatch, you've gone through my catalogue to make these spam things. Oh, dearie me. But you don't fool me. You're not that good. All right. Well, hang on. This is interesting. Oh God, I'm going to answer. I'm going to answer a bloody spam bot here. U.S. Army Secretary. We talked to an astronaut yesterday who's on the moon, who's a soldier. What is this? This is a spam bot who did this. What the hell is this?
Or we talked to an astronaut yesterday who's on the moon, who's a soldier, including actually going to war and fighting to defend
over the moon multimedia
that make our nation so great. We think this is going to be an incredible opportunity for the Army to fill up our pipeline for the years to come. And I find it offensive that anybody is challenging that.
Right. The Army can celebrate the Army. That's what it's about.
Is this real?
We cut birthday cake for you guys every year. Here's the president announcing something that really resonated with the men and women who fight.
What's going on? What's there something weird going on here? What are you? Over the moon? I mean, is that real? What was that? Reply to comment 17. Oh, this is only nice, says Red Snapper. This is like 1 hour ago. All right, this is actually in the just because I had to refresh the page so many times. I'm now getting notifications. That's cool. I'll just check if there's any in the spam box just now. See if there's any spam. No, there's not. Okay. All right. So what I'll do is we're nearly at the end now. I'll just do a refresh of the actual normal YouTube page to see if there's any. If there's any other notifications apart from that, so I'll just go like that. That's interesting stuff, isn't it? You guys have left some good comments this particular show. We're nearly at the end of this, and it's been a bloody long one. Oh God, yes, it's been long, but luckily I didn't have to work today, so I started it early, which is nice. Oh, Professor Dave is slagging off Sabine Hossenfelder again. Oh, blimey. He's oh God, I won't talk about it now, but I wrote an article about how he had a go at Avi Loeb, and I thought you being a complete dickhead. Let's have a look. GB News, that UFO podcast. Oh, the Cyril has replied here. The Cyril has replied here. Is there a modern day Helen Duncan we should be paying attention to? And do you know about them? As ever, fascinating stuff. Right. Good question, Cyril. And now, as far as I know, there is literally nobody in the world today who is as powerful a medium as Helen Duncan was. What I would say, though, is that there are people who are in touch with very, very powerful mediums. A good place to go is Victor and Wendy Zammit. That's an Australian couple. I actually interviewed them for HPANWO Radio, and they've written a book called "A Lawyer Presents a Case for the Afterlife." And he is a lawyer. Victor is a lawyer. His wife is, I think, she's a scuba diving instructor or something. And they are really they go regularly to physical mediumship seances. I went to one physical mediumship seance, and I made a video about it, which I will show you. Hang on. This one won't go away. Hang on. My browser's just sticking a bit. Oh, what's going on now? So I will... Oh, it's done it now. Okay, then. Here we go. Maybe I can find it. No, I can't. Okay. Right, here we go. Oh, here it is. Yeah, Jason Harrington live event. Okay, so the thing to do, Cyril, which I recommend you do, is go to this video here. There's the URL. And it's back in 2020. This is literally just before the lockdown, I remember. Jason Harrington live event. I attended a live demonstration of physical mediumship at a spiritualist event hosted by the famous medium, Jason Harrington. That I do recommend going to. I mean, I didn't see anything as spectacular as Helen Duncan was reported at Helen Duncan's seances, but what I witnessed was pretty incredible. It's something I've never seen before. So please do check it out. Thanks, Cyril, for your comments. So where are we now? All right, that's it. That's the end of it. Okay, I think, yep, that's it, guys. Well, obviously, I want to thank you for all the comments you put on this particular video, and there's been some crackers this time. I know it's 3 hours. It's 3 hours 15 minutes, but you know what? I'm glad it's very high quality comments, and you know, however much the effort I put into this, and it is hard work doing this, it's worth it when you guys leave such good comments. There's been some really great ones. I mean, some of the people who disagreed with me have left some really, really good comments as well this week. So thank you very much for that. And I'm wearing the good T-shirt there, best hospital porter ever, which is useful. Now, what's coming up next? Well, firstly, don't forget the Alt Tech Annex. There will be an Alt Tech Annex to this particular video, reply to comments 113, which will be on my Alt Tech sites only. It will contain material that is not suitable for YouTube. So please do go over there. Sub to me on BitChute, Odyssey, Rumble if you've not done already, because you're really missing out. There's other Alt Tech exclusives on there that I don't put up on YouTube, so check those out. And I'm also, what's coming up? Oh yeah, I want to do another thing about aliens, because Avi Loeb is no longer alone. There's someone else who's coming out to back him up with a very, very similar idea and very similar evidence, and that's Dr. Beatrice Villarreal, a Swedish astronomer. And I'm going to do a deep dive into her paper. So we'll maybe do that next week sometime. All right. And I've got a couple of other ideas. I'm also I'm going to the Warminster 60. I might make that an audio only though for HPANWO Radio. I'm not sure. But even if I do, you know, I will. There's other things coming as well. I can make some videos I can make, and I'm sure there'll be other things coming up. And maybe do another read party, perhaps, and maybe watch parties and things. And maybe I'll go to the cinema and do a roving review. I've not done one of those for a while. I think If was the last. Was If the last one I did, or was it the Conclave? I can't remember. Anyway, thank you all of you for watching HPANWO TV. This is Reply to Comments 113. Hospital Porters, Pride and Dignity. Stop the New World Order.
Conspiracies, government cover-ups, Earth mysteries, monster cryptids, psyops, saucers and black triangles, HPANWO.